This is Winnipeg Sports Talk Daily with Andrew Hustler Paterson and Michael Remis.
Happy Friday, everybody. Welcome to Winnipeg Sports Talk Daily. Game day edition, basically a pseudo pre-game show today because we had an early puck drop on Black Friday, 4 p.m. this afternoon, Winnipeg time. So 3 hours from now, the Jets will complete their season series against the Carolina Hurricanes. Of course, a week ago, we saw Nikolai Ehlers make his return to Canada Life Center. Jets lost a tough 4-3 decision in that one, and they haven't won since. Looking to break a 3-game losing streak that began in that game against Carolina, against the same team that started it. We'll chop it up with Brandon Rewucki of Skates and Plates, get his thoughts on the current plight of the Winnipeg Jets. Connor will jump on with us as well with his thoughts on the upcoming weekend. Of course, Jets not only in action this afternoon, but also tomorrow in Nashville against the struggling Predators. Of course, goaltending's been a big topic. Life without Connor Hrabchak has not been very kind to the Winnipeg Jets. But as Mike McIntyre reported, all signs pointing to Thomas Milic making his NHL debut today in Carolina. The 22-year-old fifth-round pick, also drafted in the same slot as Connor Hrabchak, could potentially be making his debut today, exactly 10 years and a day from Hrabchak's debut on a Black Friday game back in 2015. We've got, it's an interesting decision as well. I mean, I think that if things had gone well in these first 3 games, I think Comrie probably is the guy today, and then they go with Comrie tomorrow. And we'll talk about it with the guys. I mean, the decision to go against Milic, against a Carolina team that has lost their last couple of games. And I'm sure we'll be hungry for a win. And then giving Comrie the game against Nashville in the second end of the back-to-back. Bottom line is, I mean, you want to get Comrie a win and starting to get some good feelings around him. I'm sure he's feeling the pressure right now. And we'll see what the kid's got, assuming that he is the starter today. As I said, we'll talk about that as we continue the program. Tom Gazola is going to join us as well. We'll talk a little more NHL, find out what the mood's been like in Edmonton. Is the Oilers like the only team that are not playing? I think it's another 15 games today. I mean, the Oilers had that embarrassment on Wednesday against the Dallas Stars and don't play again until, or maybe it was Tuesday. Regardless, they're not playing again until Saturday. So they've had to sit on this one. If you think people are up in arms in Winnipeg, just wait till we have Tommy come on and we talk about what he's been dealing with on his post-game shows after a few of these recent Edmonton games. We'll also get into a little NFL heading into the weekend. A 2:00 game this afternoon, actually. Eagles and Bears, which we'll be paying attention to throughout the afternoon. We'll get into the NFL notebook with Hacksaw before we do the cool bet lines and the marble race. Speaking of the NFL, though, Jake and myself hooked up for WST winners this morning, put together our favorite picks for the weekend. Hopefully they're better than my picks yesterday. Very disappointing day for the Chiefs, also for Lions and Ravens fans. All the underdogs won yesterday. That is up on the channel, though, if you want to check that out afterwards over on the YouTube page or on the WST winners feed. Just before we bring in Michael Remis, a big thanks to the sponsors that make WST happen every day. Of course, our partners over at CoolBet Canada, Princess Auto, Chud's Power Sports, Clean Line, Manitoba Battery, Rolly's Transfer, St. Vital Dental Center, Canadian Club, and Uptown Alley. Manitoba Battery, Boston Pizza, Little Brown Jug, Royal Sports, big Black Friday sale going on at Royal today through the weekend. Of course, we'll get to a Why Not question of the day for Not AutoCorp at Waverly and McGillivray. And of course, as always, fan feedback for fansfirst.ca. Remo, what's going on? How are you?
Feeling good, Huss. You know, we don't get to partake in the U.S. Thanksgiving celebrations. Like, we're not doing Thanksgiving here. We don't get days off, but I'm seeing Black Friday sales just about everywhere, and we do get to enjoy football, and we also get to enjoy hockey with the Jets playing this afternoon at 4, and, you know, games going right now. So the NHL opting to have all their games on the Wednesday, the Thanksgiving night, which I kind of like. Isn't that the night where everyone goes to their hometown and drinks and
Blackout
sees everyone?
Wednesday?
Yeah, that's the name. There you go, Blackout Wednesday. It's like our version of biggest bar night of the year.
Thursday.
Bad Thursday. There you go. And so they have that, and they have the games today. So I'm excited. It's fun. And football, too. The games yesterday were great. Got another one today. Should be good. And this Jets, I mean, some intrigue going tonight's game with the Jets on a 3-game losing streak.
Yeah, got to find a way to put some points in the standings and stop the bleeding right now. And listen, if it is Thomas Milich's first start, as we expect it to be, maybe that will get a performance out of the guys up front of them, knowing that you got a very unproven and uncertain situation in your net. Maybe you crank up one of your best defensive performances of the season. That is kind of what it feels like it's going to take to beat the Carolina Hurricanes tonight. Hey, speaking of Black Friday, and of course our friends at the Winnipeg Jets, we've got our next game, which is January 9th, Friday night. It is après-ski night. And if you head over right now, you can grab tickets for that event at winnipegjets.com/WST. Your ticket includes a beverage as well. We'll have the early access, so you can pretty much be guaranteed of getting the giveaway item, which is those ski goggles. We're going to get some of those on the show and show them off to you at all. But for Black Friday, the Jets do have a great one-day deal right now, which is available online only. I clicked through it from one of their tweets, but it's $129.95, and you get 2 Upper Bowl tickets for your choice of one of about 5 or 6 games, and the Cole Perfetti bobblehead. So if you're looking for a great game day, Black Friday deal from your Winnipeg Jets, that is today only, online only. So go to the at NHL Jets piece, any of their socials for the link, or I'm sure you can probably get it on the website as well. But there it is, 2 tickets and the Cole Perfetti bobblehead, and you've got a choice of a number of games into the new year. But Remo, just before we get into, and we're going to talk lots of hockey in this game tonight. Brandon's coming up, and we'll also have Connor on the program. I want to get to football and the games yesterday, but did you hear about this Dylan Mitchell situation?
Yeah, even this made such news. My wife is asking me, hey, did you hear about this former bomber? What he is, they signed the big contract, Huss, last February-ish, and brought him into town to do appearances. Big dollar signing. Dylan Mitchell, I mean, had a ton of success in Edmonton, was a pretty good receiver.
Yeah,
but
not so much here.
Yeah, not so much here. So he got into a wild car chase in Arkansas where he was spotted driving 80 miles an hour in a 55. And okay, you're speeding a little, but you got pulled over, but he refused to stop for police and thought he was in Grand Theft Auto and decided to accelerate instead. And this is how crazy it gets. Passed an 18-wheeler in the turning lane. He tried to hide out in private property, and the property owner called in, reported him as acting crazy. He drove toward a police cruiser, swerving at the last second, tried to escape through a field, nearly caused multiple head-on collisions at speeds reportedly up to 130 miles an hour. He passed vehicles in the shoulder, ran a red light, almost hit a truck, went onto the interstate over 100 miles an hour, lost control and crashed into a metal exit sign. And so he was arrested on the scene, charged with a felony, facing DWI, refusal of chemical test, reckless driving, no license, excessive speeding, was released on $5,000 cash-only bail. This is pretty concerning stuff. Thankfully, no one was hurt, but really...
Incredibly. I mean, when you go through
Yeah.
all of those details of, listen, you see maniacs on the road, but maniacs on the road who have the cops on them that feel that they've got a better chance or it's a better option for them just to say F it and try and get away. That's where tragedies really happen. And listen, I don't want to make light of this. I don't know what is up with Dylan Mitchell. He's had some issues off the field in the past. I mean, the Bombers signed him, obviously a massive bust of a signing for the team, and in some ways a bit of a metaphor for last season overall for Winnipeg, and in particularly the offense. But, for him to be in a situation like that, it is obvious that things are not right with Dylan Mitchell. So to your point, thankfully, incredibly, nobody was hurt in this, and he'll be the one that hurts it again. But I think we can add another hole in the Bomber roster. Not that I thought that they were going to be bringing him back to begin with, but I have a feeling that this means that Dylan Mitchell's time in the Canadian Football League might be done. And to be honest, from the sounds of it, with 11 charges, including a felony, his time freely walking these streets probably done in the near future when this one gets to court.
Yeah, and there is dash cam footage from the police here. I don't know if you want me to
No way.
to play that or not. I guess this is on.
Oh, for sure.
This is on the chase, Huss, and yeah, this is crazy. And I just, if you thought the signing was pretty bad already, this is rough. I guess that's him up here, and the police are closing in on him for audio.
Yeah, this is Grand Theft Auto. I mean, the speeds that they're going at right now. Dylan Mitchell, who thought that when he signed here, the most that we'd speak of him would be breaking down a felony arrest right after the season because he did nothing for the first half of the season. And then when he did come back in to the lineup was not really impactful at all, with the exception of one touchdown, I believe, in that Hamilton game where the Bombers actually looked like the Bombers for that one fleeting moment of the 2025 season.
This is a long car chase here. This is crazy. Yeah, this is the most we've talked about him in terms of why isn't this guy playing, and hopefully he gets help, and thankfully it's going to be off the street here, Huss, right?
Well,
I don't know.
Listen,
I don't know what's going to happen.
I mean, you can't be doing this, and Dylan Mitchell, unfortunately for him, is going to be paying the price. And just from a Winnipeg Sports Talk standpoint or Winnipeg Sports standpoint, not that I thought that he was in the mix for next year, considering the way things went next year, but I don't think he's going to be in the mix for literally anybody. Is this him pulling over? And now
he went into the grass. I don't know if he lost control. Do you want me to?
I mean, that's okay. I mean, we could
probably he hit that sign. Oh, that was crazy. Oh my God.
Oh, listen, if you're listening to the podcast right now, I would suggest getting over to the YouTube channel. You can see some of this stuff because it is absolutely nuts. But I hope he gets whatever help that he needs. And, this is not really the circumstances that you want it to happen. But obviously things are not all right with Dylan Mitchell. And pretty scary situation, but fortunately nobody hurt. And he'll be talking to a lawyer a lot over the course of this next little bit. Just staying with football before we get to the Jets, Remo. Pretty crazy day yesterday in the NFL. You can tell I'm not in a great mood. My Chiefs are up against it now, 6-6 after losing to the Cowboys. Is Gregory doing the touchdown dance in the chat yet today? He was in my DMs immediately after the game last night. with this, how about them Cowboys? But you know what? They deserve it. Dak Prescott was freaking unbelievable yesterday. George Pickens is going to be a very, very rich man when he gets signed in the offseason. CeeDee Lamb was a problem. I mean, Mahomes was awesome. Like, the crazy thing is, I hit all the props that we threw out. I mean, Mahomes over 2.5 passing touchdowns. Mahomes over 3.5 passing touchdowns. If you'd have told me Patrick Mahomes is going to throw 4 TDs, I would have told you the Kansas City Chiefs were winning that game. But they weren't. They weren't able to keep up with the Cowboys throughout the game. Dak was phenomenal, minus that pick on the first start of the season, and really, or the first series of the game. And you know, they got a couple stops over the course of the game, and that was all they needed. And was a shootout, hit the over. And a similar feeling for the Detroit Lions, who are on the outside looking in, third place in their division, outside of a wild card spot, after losing to their rival Green Bay Packers yesterday. Now, we do have this 2:00 game today, Bears and Eagles. If the Bears lose, they'll fall into a wild card spot, and the Packers will be the number 1 team in the NFC North at 8-3-1. But both the Chiefs and the Lions, 2 teams that would have been amongst the top 5 Super Bowl odds to begin the season, are on the ropes. And then last night, I mean, probably the worst loss. I mean, both Kansas City and Detroit were playing teams that are good, that are playing very well. I mean, the Ravens losing at home to the Bengals was an absolute shocker. And you want to talk about a lack of execution. The turnovers last night, the fumbles from Lamar Jackson, Isaiah Likely fumbling on the goal line through the end zone for a touchback. I don't know. I don't love to know the numbers, but I think if that happens to you in the game, you probably lose about 95% of the time. That was an absolute killer. And now all of a sudden the Pittsburgh Steelers have a chance at home against the Bills to regain the lead in the NFC North after Baltimore stormed all the way back. Yeah, don't forget Lamar Jackson's tuck rule fumble, but there is no more tuck rule. So that was a fumble, not an incomplete pass. And yeah, it was just awful from Baltimore. How they did not protect the ball and just gave it to the Bengals. Nice to see Joe Burrow come in. You always wonder how a guy's going to play, you know, after being off with injury, and he had this toe injury. Looked fine. Was doing QB sneaks. Was running the ball. Looked pretty good. So, I mean, could the Bengals go on a heater now and win out all the way to the playoffs? I mean, they looked pretty good yesterday. It's funny you say that, because if you look at the standings right now, I mean, the Bengals are 4-8, which should be, you know, you're done, except for the fact that they're in the AFC North. If Pittsburgh loses to Buffalo, they are an underdog, 6-6 will be first place. You get Joe Burrow back, and unfortunately for Burrow, they don't have any more games against the Steelers. They do get the Ravens at home in 2 weeks. They got to go to the Bills next week and then finish Dolphins, Cardinals, Browns. So I'm not sure we're going to start rallying the Bengals for playoffs at any point soon, but stranger things have happened. Baltimore's looked terrible yesterday. The Steelers don't look like a playoff team. So maybe, just maybe, the Bengals will get back into it. Certainly, even if it is a lost season, they love nothing more than sticking it to one of their big rivals and doing it in primetime on Thanksgiving. And it was good to see Burrow back. That connection he's got with Jamar Chase is something else, even without T. Higgins, that they did it yesterday. So I don't know. Big day for underdogs if you were picking them yesterday, especially just on the money line. That would have been, I don't know what a Packers, Cowboys, Bengals money line would have paid, but probably would have been around 30 or 40 to 1.
Yeah, and one thing I really enjoyed about Thanksgiving yesterday, which has been a NFL tradition for a long time, all the tributes to John Madden on every channel, because he worked on Fox, he's on NBC. NBC had a really nice intermission tribute voiced by Andy Reid, and his contributions to broadcasting, the video game as well, and what he brought to football. So I did. It was a nice day for the NFL. Also, the great halftime shows, the Jack White and Eminem, Post Malone, and they only showed a clip of Lil Jon in the evening game, but it was very well done.
It was, we were doing the show yesterday while the Pack game was on, and I kind of looked over. I'm like, oh my God, yeah, Jack White. Oh, Eminem's coming on. Obviously, I couldn't listen to it because I was on the show. And basically, we finished the program, stopped the stream. It came down to the Packers with a third down where if they got it, the game was done. They got it. So while they ended up kneeling, I just rewound right back to the start of halftime and checked out the Jack White halftime show. Was amazing. I mean, I'm a big White Stripes and Jack White fan. He doesn't do a lot of things like that, so it was really cool. And then obviously with Eminem out there, I mean, two Detroit music icons doing it together. That was fun. And then I'll be honest, I didn't know much about Post Malone. I mean, obviously we've seen him more. He did that song with Morgan Wallen or whatever that was everywhere in and around the summer. He's the one guy that I think that's managed to get away with having ridiculous face tattoos and being able to be a prominent, pop star, if you will. And then I think, wasn't he started out as a rapper? And now he's like a straight up country artist. The shape shifting is quite amazing in music these days. But anyways, I enjoyed it. I know he's a huge Cowboy fan, so he was fired up to be able to play Jerry World yesterday.
Yeah, pretty cool. I know that he's covered like Nirvana before. He does all genres now. I'm not a big Post Malone guy, but big name, big halftime shows yesterday.
Everyone had fun. So anyways, we'll get into a little bit more on the NFL at the end of the program before Marbles when Lee Hacksaw Hamilton joins us. But let's get into this one today. Jets and Canes. God knows we spent enough time talking about this losing streak and, coming out of the game against Washington, Reem. I mean, for people that like the fancy stats and the numbers, I guess they can say, wow, the Jets played great. They, had high danger shot chances 2-1 over Washington, and the deserve to win-a-meter was 71%. I mean, numbers like that give me less and less faith in the data that we're getting out of this stuff. Because the eye test was not of a team that, just got goalied. There were long stretches where they didn't have shots. And as we heard from Scott O'Neill after the game, they have to find a way to generate some secondary scoring because the top line was awesome in that game. I mean, the 3 goals from Scheifele, Velarde, and Connor, but nothing else to show for it. And, we'll see, Remo. And I mean, maybe if we want to bring up the clean line lines, which is what we had them at last game, I guess the big question is, and there's no pregame morning skate or anything like that, so there's not really anything that we can lean on other than the way that they finished up the game in the last time out. I didn't love the Lowry lines game, and that was maybe the one disappointment. I knew we'll see what we were going to get with the breaking up of Taves, putting him with Barron and Gustav Nyquist. The Nemesnikov Pearson Perfetti line was, I guess the other guys that they were putting together. Certainly when you look at the individual numbers, and again, all of this with a grain of salt, considering everything else that the data pumped out from that game. But it wasn't effective, particularly for Pearson and Nemesnikov. Perfetti had a little bit more juice, and maybe part of that was in the on the power play. But expected going in tonight, will be Connor Scheifele, Velarde. We'll talk about the pros and cons of potentially splitting that line up and really bringing out the blender. But after a game where they were as productive as they were, I would be shocked if that line wasn't intact for tonight's game. And I don't think they're going to move away from Lowry, Iafallo, and Niederreiter. So in all likelihood, barring a change, potentially bringing Cole Koepke in, I think you'll see Nemesnikov and Pearson with Perfetti once again, and Taves with Nyquist and Barron. There is a little bit of an intrigue on the blue line, Reem, and we spent some time. If you missed yesterday's show, we had a great conversation with Murat Atesh, and he's got a real good new piece up at The Athletic on what the Jets need to do if they're going to expect to be part of the playoff party. And then we got into Elias Salmonson's NHL debut, which had some really nice moments. And a couple sketchy ones, which often comes with a rookie defenseman. But Neil Pionk was a full participant in practice yesterday. So there is the possibility that Pionk will play tonight. Now, whether that means Elias is out, that could be the case. It could mean Elias moves to the third pairing and gets another game playing with Logan Stanley, and both Miller and Schenn would be out. Hayden Fleury's already out right now, did not make the trip, dealing with concussion syndrome. So some intrigue as to the lines. I will say this, I'm really hoping we get a few more games of Elias Salomonsson Remis, and if Neil Pionk comes back, I will totally get putting him back with Dylan Samberg. But if that's the case, a Salomonsson Stan pairing, I think, would be kind of intriguing and something that would be worth taking a look at right now for the Winnipeg Jets. Of course, our Clean Line lines presented by Clean Line Plumbing, Heating, and Electrical. 40 years in the business and the official plumbing service of the Winnipeg Jets, captain approved. What are your thoughts on a potential return of Pionk to the lineup and whether that would mean Elias is out or maybe get some time with Stanley on the third pairing?
Yeah, I just showed the graphic from, the Lions last game because there's no morning skate and they didn't do line rushes yesterday. So that's all we can really go on. And as you said, Pionk, a question mark. He did skate yesterday, and Mike McIntyre does believe that Thomas Milic will start based on the drills done in practice. But I'd like to see Elias Salomonsson. Let's see what you have there. You got your first game out of the way. You're feeling good. Hayden Fleury's hurt. Good opportunity to put him on with Stanley, and put Pionk with Samberg, who've been pretty good. So look, there were some mistakes, but a lot of really nice plays last game too, and give him a chance to redeem himself. You have the back-to-back this weekend, a good opportunity to rotate in and out some bodies. So I agree with you. He got his first game in. You get the jitters out of the way. Let's see how he can do. Let's get a bigger sample size here.
Arnie didn't do the media after practice yesterday. It was Marty Johnson, but. Here's just a little bit of the Jets assistant coach on talking about the mood around the room as, the losses have piled up recently.
Obviously, we don't like the record we have in the last little bit, but I think there's a belief in the group that we have to continue to stick to the basics of what makes us successful and understand that there are times when the puck's not going in the net, and we don't want to look at different ways of trying to be something that we're not. We have to continue to stick with the program, and the attitude and the bench has been good in terms of that. Obviously, we want to get a few more bounces, but at times this happens in a season.
Two.
All right. Johnson also talked about going up against the Hurricanes this afternoon, just so recently off of their previous meeting last week here in the Peg.
The nice thing is that Carolina forces you to play a fast game, and we know that having played them a couple of games ago that they're going to be very direct, and if we're direct, I think good things will happen. So the nice thing about playing a fast team is that we're going to be ready right off the hop, and the attitude was good again this morning, and again, like I said, we have a good core of leaders that understand we have to stick with the program, and that message was sent again today.
All right, there is Marty Johnson. Here's one more from the assistant coach. And listen, no surprise, they're asking about, can we get some offense over, from lines not the Connor Scheifele-Velarde line? Here's Johnson on there's things they can work on to get a little bit more offensive juice from the rest of the lineup.
Yeah, I think it's about the second chance opportunities and the bad pucks that come your way in your feet, the rebounds, the things like that you can't necessarily practice on a clean sheet of ice. It's okay to have bad ice. It's okay to have bad pucks. It's okay to find those in your feet. And I think we're trying to make sure that we finish all of our plays, and we're going to have to continue to do that. Obviously, we saw last night there's screens, there's tips, there's deflections. So all those things that aren't necessarily a one-on-0 clean rep, we're trying to replicate, and the guys buy into it. We understand we need to score more goals, but the guys are working at it. We understand it, and again, we feel like we just continue to go to those areas of the ice, and hopefully the puck starts bouncing our way.
All right, so there's Marty Johnson, Jets and Canes coming up at 4. Brandon Rewucki and Connor will jump on the program over the next couple segments to get more thoughts on both this game and, of course, tomorrow against the Nashville Predators. Folks, it is Black Friday. There's big deals around, and, of course, there's lots of holiday shopping happening. But at the same time, got to think about the gift of experiences and good times and fun in and around the holidays. And whether you're thinking about a Christmas gift or an activity with friends and family over the course of this next month, might I remind you that Uptown Alley at 1301 St. Matthews Avenue is the ultimate fun center for kids of all ages. 5-pin bowling, 10-pin bowling, laser tag, an amazing arcade, games where you win great tickets to redeem for awesome prizes, and absolutely phenomenal food and beverage options that will blow you away. If you're thinking about a little impromptu holiday party, do it at Uptown Alley. Just a plan of getting friends back together. Why not there? They've got a great deal every day if you're looking for something to do in the evening. After 9 p.m., their bowl and play daily deal. 90 minutes of bowling and a $10 arcade card for just $20.49 for 5-pin, $22.49 for 10-pin. And, of course, amazing birthday packages for kids, teens, or adults. An amazing group and corporate events where you pick your activities, your meal, your add-ons, and their event staff take care of everything else. And, of course, with Christmas just around the corner, an Uptown Alley gift card might be a great stocking stuffer for those of you where you're thinking about getting for something under the tree. Head on down and see them. You can give them a call, 488-0000. Great phone number. They've had that one for ages. And, of course, online at uptownalley.ca. Maybe you bought your family a new house for Christmas and you're moving. If you are on the move heading into the new year, let our friends at Rolly's Transfer take as much of the stress out of the moving operation as possible. They're family-owned and operated in Winnipeg and the most trusted name in the moving game, now into their 7th decade. Head on over to Rollies.com and click on Request an Estimate. You can put in the promo code WST for a special discount on moving services and moving supplies, and then simply let them know when and where you're moving to and what needs to go, and the friendly staff at Rollies will turn it around quickly with a great quote and get you locked in for the white glove treatment and service that they are famous for. For all your moving needs, lean on our friends and sponsors at Rollies Transfer, the most trusted name in moving in Manitoba. Find out more today at Rollies.com. I saw our pal Dr. Terry in the chat. He's fired up. I know the St. Patel Dental Center gang's always ready for a little marble race action on a Friday night. They're also always ready to take care of you and your family with the best in dental services in town. They've been doing it for generations of Manitobans, but now have a beautiful new facility at 167 St. Anne's Road with convenient free parking right behind the building and a full array of dental services for clients from 6 months to 99 plus. From cleanings and checkups to things like dental implants, Dr. Terry and his gang can do it all for you. Check them out online at stpateldental.ca. Make an appointment, pop in, and say hi to the gang from us at Winnipeg Sports Talk. And just before we bring in Brandon, it's Friday. The holidays are here. I know many of you will be heading down to your local Manitoba Liquor Mart. A couple things you need to keep your eye out. First of all, if you're thinking Canadian whiskey, you think Canadian Club, the iconic, original Canadian Club since 1858. It, of course, is the official spirit of the Winnipeg Blue Bombers. And the Bomber Label Edition Canadian Club is still available where supplies remain here in the city. Perfect gift for the Bomber fan in your family. It'll look great on the table at a holiday party as well. But also keep your eye out, speaking of the holidays, for the limited edition Canadian Club Cranberry Ginger Ale. The CC and Ginger has been so popular in the can for the last couple of summers. Now the taste of the holidays is here, both in 4-packs and 473 milliliter cans, pre-mixed, ready to go over ice. The Canadian Club Cranberry Ginger Ale, limited time offer for the holidays. Pick it up today at your local Manitoba Liquor Marts or beer vendor closest to you. All right, let's get back to the Jets right now. Big game this afternoon in Nashville tomorrow. Brandon Rewucki of Skates and Plates joins us now. Rew, what's going on, buddy? How are you?
I'm doing pretty good. How's the Black Friday been for you and the crew there? Any deals?
Black Friday better than the Thanksgiving Thursday south of the border yesterday, considering the results of certain football games. I'm not in a great spot. How are you feeling about the Birds going into this one, coming up at 2 against the Bears, coming off? Like, I can't say anything. Chiefs just lost to the Cowboys as well. Although I think I might have felt worse if my team had blown a 21-0 lead. They're such a puzzling team this year, despite the record at 8-3.
It's definitely the angriest 8-3 fan base in sports history, which probably shouldn't come as much of a surprise. I mean, without even naming the team, it's a Philly team. Philly? It's one of the 4. But I mean, at the same time, I think there's this weird acknowledgement that they have a championship level roster, and it's a season that's being torpedoed by a coaching staff that, I should say, an offensive coaching staff that is less than the sum of their parts right now. So it's this weird, fascinating conundrum they're in, where it's like, how long are they going to, like, is a first place, potentially first seed team going to fire their offensive coordinator, or are they going to keep them and risk losing the Super Bowl because of it? But that's where they're at right now. Where you saw it in the Dallas game, scoring your first 3 drives and then 3 straight quarters of pointless football. It's I'm fast. I don't really know how this one's going to play out here. I know someone's going to be angry. That's probably the best I can do. But maybe it's lessened a little bit by the fact that Dallas they're putting some good games together. Like they might not be able to dig themselves out of their early season hole, but that's like the quintessential. If they get in, let somebody else play them, because they are slowly morphing into an actual pretty damn good football team, as gross as that feels to say.
No, it's true. I mean, they've got some players. The addition of Quinnen Williams. They already had Kenny Clark from the Micah Parsons trade. I mean, they lost a lot in Parsons, but they built up a strong rush defense. Their secondary seems to be getting better. I mean, it couldn't have been much worse than what it was at the start of the year. And the offense is freaking scary. But it's funny when you talk about the Eagles as the mad 8-3 fan base. I wistfully think of the good old days when the Jets were at 9-3 and we were picking them apart, going, "Oh, the analytics aren't very good. Oh, this is not good." Well, a bunch of the analytics are a heck of a lot better right now, and they're not winning hockey games. What do you make of where the Jets sit right now without Connor Hrabchak on a 3-game losing streak, and desperately trying to find a way with somebody else to score some goals outside of the big boys up on line 1?
Yeah, I mean, the harsh reality is they're running out of runway here, because now there's 4 or 5 teams that they have to jump to get into a playoff spot. I think top 3 in the division. I know it seems a tad early to say this, but to me, that's a pipe dream now. Now it's about just, we got to get into the dance, and hopefully we're rounding into form by the time the playoffs come around. But hey,
you better get the first wild card if you do that, because I'm telling you right now, the 8th seed is in for probably a fun 4 games, 2 in Denver, and then curtains.
Yeah.
I mean, just looking at those numbers right now, Minnesota is 6 games above 500. Like, I did our Chud's Power Sports NHL Power Poll yesterday, Brandon, and I had Colorado 1, Dallas 2, Minnesota 3 in the entire league. And I mean, unfortunately, that's just the tough neighborhood that they're in right now. But you're right. Like, the Wild have been so good in the past month after they started very poorly. Now, again, there's so much road left to go. All of a sudden, you go into a slump. You go 2-8 in 10 games, and you waste everything you build up before. But based on where things are at right now, those teams are looking really, really good. Utah's 3 games above 500. Chicago and the Jets are 2 games above 500. And the teams that are actually in the wild card right now in the West, it's LA and it's Utah. So Utah one game above the Jets right now. I kind of just don't even look at the overtime losses. Do you have more wins or regulation losses? It's the easiest way to sort of track, because teams have different number of points. So it's not like they're down there with the Blues and the Flames. But I'll tell you what, they could be quickly if they don't find a way to win some games while Connor Hrabchak is out of this lineup.
They're closer to that grouping than they'd like to be. and it's trending in a certain direction right now, which is the really, really concern. I mean, these next 5 games, I think in particular, are it's borderline make or break time, where like you go 4-1, everything's fine. You go 1-4, the season might have just slipped through your fingers, which is, again, crazy to say, but also the reality of the situation where we know how the loser point works. It's a terrible system, but it's hard to leapfrog a bunch of teams because they can pick up a point or two in just about every game here. So, I mean, there are a myriad of issues they need to solve. First and foremost, though, is really simple. They've got to refix the scoring group. And to me, it's either Scott Arniel walks up to Kevin Cheveldayoff's office and says, is there a player coming in a trade sometime soon? If the answer is yes, great, top line sticks together. If the answer is no, we're rejigging the whole forward group. Because again, do you want to have the best top line in hockey, or do you want to have a forward group that's producing? And right now, we're seeing what that top line is giving them, where they're playing out of their minds. It's not even like you're not even blaming the top line in a weird way because they're holding up their end of the bargain. But you need some level of secondary scoring consistently too, not just a goal from each line every 3 or 4 games. So I think it's that they've put themselves in this corner now where if an external addition isn't coming in the next handful of games, which I find extremely unlikely, you don't have any other option here than to break up the top line, spread out the scoring a little bit, spread out some of your elite talent, and hope that gets this thing back on track. And then you can maybe, mix and mash and pick and choose how you want to alter the lineup the rest of the way. But I really thought the Washington game was kind of like the breakthrough point of let's see if one of those lines gets going. And it was even worse than it's been all year somehow. And then the top line played as good as they have all year. So I think you can't fix all your issues in one fell swoop, but let's tackle the big thing that's staring us in the face right now. And it's something that this team can address. And I think that's the move that's going to happen here. Or else we'll just see the same thing we've seen all season long. Top line's great. You don't get anything in the bottom 9.
Yeah, I mean, I think the first choice is to rejig the bottom 9 and hopefully find something that works. Because there is a major inherent risk in breaking up a line that is really productive when you don't have anything else going. I mean, if the other line, if these new cooked up lines, when you split these guys up, don't work, you're compounding a problem that already has them in a pretty tough situation. And listen, for me, the conversation's just a lot different this year. And it's because of the guy that's on the other team today, Nikolai Ehlers, not being here anymore. It's a lot easier to say, yeah, let's break up the top line. You can put Ehlers there, no problem. These two guys, like outside of that top line, Cole Perfetti has not been great since coming back so far. Like, it's not like, oh, you know what? He's playing so well and pucks are going to die on the other guys. Like, we just haven't seen a lot from any of the guys right now. Like, I wouldn't even know where to start. Oh, let's put these guys on 3 different lines. I mean, literally, it's the blender. Oh, what comes out first going on? Like, no one's giving them reason to say, oh, this guy really should be getting more minutes in the top 6 right now, which has got to be frustrating. I mean, the obvious pivot moves, to me at least, aren't really clear right now, and it's a huge risk. And, maybe making your team even more offensively impotent.
Which would be something at this point. But I mean, the status quo isn't clearly working either. And I agree. This isn't a situation of we can pick XYZ who's playing well and we'll reconfigure our lineup and feel good about it. To me, it's just, okay, who are the guys that are going right now offensively? And it's Connor, Scheifele, Velarde. And I think the easy move and what I would like to see is to have, if you're going to play Jonathan Toews 16 plus minutes a night, is to have Kyle Connor beside him, because he really hasn't had a true element of speed on his line this year. And he's slow. Like, the team is slow, but Jonathan Toews at this point, rightfully so, is a slow NHL player. And so I think I almost look at it more as splitting up Scheifele and Connor in particular ensures that we can get both of those guys on the ice for about 60% of 5-on-5 minutes, as opposed to 20 to 30%. Like, at least that way we have a game breaker Olympian on the ice more often. That's I think what I would be looking to do right now is not even necessarily, again, penalizing or promoting someone. It's just we need to have a couple guys that are going on different lines just to give us some extra element of production because there's been Zippo elsewhere.
Okay, so let's run with this. Connor's with Taves. We leave Velarde with Scheifele. Where does Cole Perfetti go? Because, I mean, I think he has to be part of a top six. Like, they need to get more out of him. And I actually do support him. I mean, if you had a creative way to, keep that up, give those guys significant minutes, and get that fit in. I mean, he might really, really benefit from some time playing with 55.
That's where I'd be going. And again, it's not a promotion of you're playing well, here's the top line. It's like, I'm all out of ideas and we got to try something here. But I've always liked the mix of, and the reason I really like Perfetti with a Scheifele, and, if it's Velarde there, great. If not, I don't really mind, is that, I really think Scheifele's at his best when he's ripping the puck. And sometimes he gets a little too differential with Connor on his line, which again hasn't hurt the top line this year. But I really think it kind of unlocks another element to this team when Mark Scheifele becomes the trigger man on his own line. And I think having Cole Perfetti being the playmaking aspect of that can help to do that. You have Velarde doing a bunch of the grunt work, along the boards and in around the net like he normally does. And Mark Scheifele's as good as anybody in the NHL at finding open space in those dangerous scoring areas. And I think Cole, he has the potential at least to pick a pass like that and find a guy in a dangerous area. It's just, the mix so far has been a little bit underwhelming. It's also tough too because he's coming back from the injury. But I think we're kind of on the same wavelength there where, like, if you're going to do the radical breaking up of the top line, I think to me that's the move. And then you would have Taves and Connor. Honestly, I wouldn't even care all that much who the other winger is. You could put a big body there like a Nino or an Iafallo, maybe even Morgan Barron if you wanted to give him a little more runway inside the top six. That part to me is kind of, go ahead and do whatever you want. But as long as you're breaking up and spreading out the wealth a little bit, I feel like this team has a bit of a better chance to pot a couple goals outside of just one line right now.
Nick Lyman, who's been, mentioning this on a few times, likes Connor Lowry with Perfetti. Where I see there's some other spots if T. Konopali, if Fetz goes to the top line. The one thing where I kind of am a little warmer to this, like just talking this through, is how good Velarde's been. Like Velarde right now, I think you could have made the argument for a good portion of last year listen, obviously he benefits from playing with those two players. I mean, they play a lot, they play in good situations. And he carried his end of the bargain as sort of the third piece on that. He was really feeling it in the game against Washington, and obviously scored the 2 goals. And I do think that if you're getting that version of Gabriel Velarde more often than not, he could be more of a driver and an offensive catalyst, maybe playing outside of regular minutes with Mark Scheifele.
I love his game right now. And my favorite part of Gabe Velarde's game is that the average scoring distance is about 7 inches. That's not an actual fact. Don't look that up. But he knows he's one of those players who, and it's you would think more guys around the NHL would be like this, but they're surprisingly not. But he understands his game and his limitations as good as anybody. And he knows the only way I'm going to be successful is in and around like a 10-foot radius of the net. You know what I mean? Like trying to play like Kyle Connor is going to get me pushed down the lineup pretty quickly here. But, I've maintained, and I think a lot of Jets fans feel the same way, that he's one of the better net front guys in the NHL. Like how many guys of his size have the hands in tight like he does? So he's very, very wily. Like he knows, I think, almost like a non what's the right word here? A non-scummy Corey Perry in a way. Where, he doesn't have that nasty physical element of a Corey Perry, but he does a lot of those similar things in and around the net, and he's really adept at, both deflections and beating goalies in tight. And I just think that kind of a game is pretty transferable to any line, right? Like he doesn't need a lot of space to work with. He doesn't need necessarily a puck transporter up and down the ice. It's just once we're into the offensive zone, I'm going to make life a lot easier for my line mates. And I think that part of his game now is nice where, you have that relatability, reliability that him and Scheifele and Connor are going to get it done. But I really don't think we would see a ton of drop off from his game or production if he was put with different line mates, because any line in hockey could use somebody like that in and around the net.
Yeah. Listen, it'll be interesting to see how things start off today, whether they're back, whether Koepke's in the lineup, maybe for Pearson. I didn't love his game in the last one, and he's had a couple nights where he stood out, others, not so much. I still think Koepke's probably more suited to the bottom six. Does that mean, one of the other players? I don't even know which line is which and what is the bottom six right now based on what we had last game. So I know who the top line is, and then and the one thing for sure, if they're keeping Nino, Adam, Lowry, and Iafallo together, that line needs to have a better game than they did. I didn't love their game. They weren't that effective. They weren't close to what they are when they are really on in that one. And I got a lot of faith that those guys will step up and do it. And then, of course, Nashville tomorrow. Just before we go, thoughts on Milic getting his first start tonight? Presumably at 4 p.m. this afternoon against a really good Carolina team that kind of has come off it a little bit since their win against the Jets with a couple losses in a row. I kind of like it tonight because I think Eric Comrie desperately needs a win. And I think you're putting him into that game in Nashville knowing how important it is. And I guess for a kid that's never played in it, you don't know what you don't know until you're out there. See if he can go out and have a brilliant performance in his first chance in the National Hockey League and try and shock some people.
We'll get 2 games worth of shots in this one, so that's nice. It's probably been a long time since he's going to face 40 shots in a game, but yeah, it's tough to say, right? Like, do you want to play your starter or the goalie that gives you a perceived better chance to win against the better team or the weaker team? I think the Jets have made their goal clear that Saturday is the must-win game, which I don't necessarily disagree with either. And it's like, hey, kid, try to steal this one if you can. Like I think that's in a way the message, not verbally to Thomas Milic, but in a subconscious way what the coaching staff is trying to say. So it's a tough situation either way. Maybe just giving Comrie a little extra time off to rest and recuperate and get ready for the Predators is maybe the way to go there. But the Jets, they didn't have a great start to the game against Carolina, but they played them decently. Like, it wasn't one of those 45 to 15 shot type of a games like we've seen in the past from them. They actually, I thought,
was that stupid shorthanded goal.
Yeah.
To me, I thought that was a really evenly played game, one that could go in the other way. If you don't make that mistake, you're probably at least getting a point and taking your chances in overtime, which at this point would be like a win. The one thing I'll say about the Jets is if they get to overtime, they're more often than not, regardless of who they're playing, coming out with 2. But even 1 right now, just not seeing that regulation loss number keep going up, because that's what really kills you right now in the NHL. Brandon, good stuff. I will give a plug. Connor's going to jump on right away. Of course, we will have post-game coverage of the game tonight. Probably by the time K&R are finished, it'll be up on the channel with Connor and the self-proclaimed better looking of the Rewucki brothers, Tyson. He's been a nice add into some of the post-game coverage with Connor on the channel.
Yeah. He self-proclaims a lot of things that aren't necessarily true, but that's okay. He'll figure it out. But that's great. No, I'm glad WST's picked up a nice new addition there. So I'll be sure to check out the post-gamer tonight. You
got it. We'll have that up on the YouTube channel and the podcast feed after the game, once kind of the fellows that are cranking all the live stuff out, IC and K&R, are finished with their stuff. I'll let you go because your team's about to kick off. Have a good afternoon watching the Birds and then the Jets. I'm sure you've got nothing else on your plate at all, nothing going on in and around you that'll prevent you from just watching it solely. But good luck with all of that, and we'll do this again next week.
Yeah, this is a tepid Go Birds. I'm not overly excited about this one, but appreciate it. We'll talk soon.
Right on. There's Brandon Rewucki. Check out Skates and Plates wherever you get your favorite podcasts. All right, we're going to get Connor in here in just a minute. Let me shout out our friends at Princess Auto for their great support of WST. Of course, Princess Auto, proud sponsors of the Bombers, the home of the stadium, the Princess Auto Stadium, and so many parts of our Winnipeg sporting community. But it's Black Friday. And you know there's big deals at Princess Auto. I mean, every day of the year, you can get the best deals on the most unique assortment of tools and equipment around. Everything you need to complete the projects on your list or start something new is over at Princess Auto. But right now, for Black Friday, pop in and see them on Panet Road or Portage Avenue West or in Brandon. And you can also get the great deals from Princess Auto right now for Black Friday by shopping online at princessauto.com. Coming up before Hacksaw, we'll have our Chuds Power Sports NFL Power Poll. I don't think you'll be seeing the Lions or the Chiefs or the Ravens in that group. But I will tell you, speaking of Black Friday, our friends at Chuds Power Sports have some incredible deals right now as we get ready to roll for snowmobile season. They've also got $500 off timber sled kits right now. We'll have to talk to the Derminator and find out a little bit more on that. But Chuds, for over 80 years, has been the power sports superstore in Manitoba. Just won the award from Snowman again last week for their 50th anniversary. And they've got the best in snowmobiles and some great preseason deals on both Arctic Cat and Polaris sleds. But more like ATVs, UTVs, Argo, and Sasquatch vehicles. And, of course, with the ice fishing season just around the corner, the best in ice houses as well. Pop by and see them, the amazing staff at the corner of Highway 8 and 231 up in Gimli, or head on over right now to chudspowersports.com. And speaking of great deals, check out their sister site, truenorthparts.com. The best in parts selection. If you need to fix something or you're searching for a part, nobody does it better than Chuds. They've also got some great deals on clearance gear and accessories at amazing, amazing prices. That's at truenorthparts.com. But Chuds Power Sports is where you'll find it all, up in Gimli on Highway 8. And hey, before we bring in Connor, get ready for winter before winter takes care of you. That's right. You might want to head down to Manitoba Battery, say hi to Donnie and the gang, and get taken care of for the upcoming winter. Free battery testing the entire month of November, so you can beat the freeze before you're on the wrong side of a losing battle. Make sure your battery's good to go for the winter. If you need a new one, you will get the best prices in town, period, on pretty much batteries for everything and anything. But while we worry about getting our car and truck through the Manitoba winter, no one will give you a better deal with better customer service while shopping local than Manitoba Battery. See them Logan Avenue, Dover Court Drive. Give them a call or order online at manitobabattery.com. All right, let's get Connor in here. Had a good chat with Connor off air today before we were doing WST winners. Wanted to get his thoughts as well on the Jets before fires it up with the other Rewucki after the show today. What's going on?
I'm doing well, Huss. Doing well. I'm making sure my hair looks good behind the scenes here because I'm going between Brandon Rewucki and Tom Gazola. So I gotta make sure I'm looking good today. Gotta make sure.
It's this is an intriguing game, and listen, it's a tough spot for the Jets. I mean, we know what they're up against without Connor Hrabchak. But I have to tell you, I mean, all signs yesterday from Mike McIntyre down in Raleigh said it was pointing to Thomas Milic getting the start. It's an interesting choice. I think at the start we thought it would maybe more likely be in Nashville. But I think not only you have to have that one tomorrow and you want to let Eric go, but, sometimes you don't know what you're up against before you do it. And, listen, he's going to be excited. He's going to get out there, and it could go a number of different ways. But that being said, I'm excited to see it.
Yeah, hey, kid, welcome to the NHL. Here's the #1 shots on goal leader in the NHL on the road. Good luck. Holy moly. Thomas Milic looks like he's getting his first career NHL start today. And extremely tough matchup for him. I mean, we all expected the Nashville game because that's a little bit of an easier matchup for a goalie. They're near the bottom of the NHL in goals. They were last year as well. But looks like the Jets in this slump are going to save their better goalie, presumably, for the Saturday game. And maybe treat that one as a must win, like Brandon just said. So I'm excited to see what Thomas Milic can do. He's got a .920 save percentage with the Manitoba Moose this season. So he's red hot in the AHL. And hey, here you go. Number 1 shots on goal leader in the NHL for your NHL debut. I hope he crushes it. I talked with him before the season started at Manitoba Moose Production Day, and he was excited for the season. We talked about, playing for Canada at the World Juniors and those high pressure moments. So I think he's built for it, Huss, and I hope he crushes it today.
Well, and Reem, the the situation that you pointed out, that this is 10 years and a day to Hellebuck's first start. He's also a 5th round pick. Listen, no one's going to be Hellebuck for this club, and it's a lot earlier than I think anybody expected Milic would be getting any sort of NHL time, but it's also a huge opportunity. And, before people just think that they're writing this game off, we see what the kid can do. The bottom line is that everyone in that locker room who's already been probably stressing over the lack of secondary scoring and all that knows that they're going to need to step up and do everything they can to help this kid out defensively if they want to have any sort of a result this afternoon.
Yeah, the Jets losers of 7 of their last 10. Secondary scoring gone very cold. Gus Nyquist, 0 goals in 17 games. Nemesnikov, pointless in 10. Iafallo, pointless in 5. You guys mentioned Cole Perfetti. He's got 1 goal since returning. And Lowry and Taves, 1 goal in their last 10. I mean, you look at the team score, and we talked about it. DeMello's got 10 points. Stanley's got 9. They're 6th and 7th in team scoring. You're not going to, have long-term success if those guys are leading the charge. No offense to them having nice seasons, but they're defensemen who don't play on the power play, and they're up there in team scoring. So they're going to need some goal support. They're going to need some strong defensive play. And Thomas Milic, he's had a nice season with the Moose, 5-2-2, .921 save percentage, 2.14 goals against. Can it translate to the NHL? And if he plays, or when he does play, he'll be the first Jets draft pick from the last 3 drafts since Brad Lambert to appear in an NHL game. So it is, I mentioned it yesterday, Black Friday was when Hellebuck made his debut. He got a win against Minnesota, November 27, 2015. Here we are, November 28, 2025. A nice afternoon, Black Friday game on the road. Amazing. Someone is drafted the same round. This is pretty wild here. This is, what do they call it, Twilight Zone?
Well, let's hope that, all of these similarities continue and he plays like a young Hellebuck today. Now, Jay Miller just mentioned this. I can't remember a rookie goalie making his first game. Do the goalies get to do the bucket off solo lap as well? They skate around, stick handling with the goalie stick? Exactly. Yeah, how does that work?
I think so. I've seen that before. I feel like, I don't know, not buckets off because, you got to take shots, but you.
Well, just for the hot lap, hot lap with no
maybe.
bucket.
That would be rock star stuff. If Milic came out no bucket solo lap, I would love that.
By the way, speaking of no buckets, Dr. Terry, speaking of your hair, Hrabchak asked for the Howie Long at the stylist. And hey, Howie's still got it going on. But listen, I will put this out to the chat as well. We've been talking this for a couple days. And, yesterday, I think the vote, Remo, was about 68% do not break up the top line. But give us this, whether you're sold on it or not, let's just say that Scott Arniel figured out that, I'm going to make a move and we're going to do that. We're going to see if we can generate scoring up and down the lineup by breaking up that top line. So the why not question of the day for not Autocorp at Waverly and McGillivray is if they did split that up, and it can be split up anyway, what is the line that you would like to see? Just give me a combination. Nick dropped his one in of Connor, Lowry, and Perfetti. Give us some suggestions as to where, put a couple in there if you'd like, into the chat, and we'll get to that in fan feedback. We were just talking with Brandon about it, and obviously a lot of people in chat, Connor, on the challenges, risks involved, but also the hopeful benefits of making a move. Where are you on, how close Scott Arniel might be to what could be perceived as pushing the panic button, but bringing out the Paul Maurice brand industrial-sized blender and mixing it up?
Yeah, I'm here for it. If he did it, I think I'd be in support of it. No line in the NHL has played more than Connor Hrabchak these last 2 seasons. And last year, the Winnipeg Jets had their forward core down to a T. You had the top line, you had the Ehlers line that would feast on secondary matchups. You'd have the Lowry line that would take care of the tougher matchups, especially when you're at home. I liked that combination, but right now no one's scoring in the bottom 6. Even the Lowry line, I thought, had a pretty rough game against the Washington Capitals. They were the 4th line. They're supposed to be that defensive shutdown trio. So I'd like to see it broken up, and I don't really care who the center is, but what I want to see is Connor and Perfetti together. I've said this going back to last year, and again, last year they had their lines. They stuck with it the whole year. It was what it was. But this year, Cole Perfetti's not really going right now, and I think that his passing ability mixed with Kyle Connor's, maybe play driving ability, but really the shooting and ability to find the open areas can really mesh well together. So whether it's Taves, whether it's Scheifele, whether it's Lowry, whoever that center might be between those two, I'd like to see those two put together. I don't really know, Huss. I don't really subscribe to the fact that, the top line is the only thing going right now. And if you break them up, well, then you might have nothing going. I mean, Kyle Connor and Mark Scheifele are pretty good hockey players. I'd expect them to still be going offensively away from one another. So I'm kind of here for it. I know they're probably going to stick with the top line again today, but I'd like to see a bit of a split of the top line. And then maybe if the Jets are down a goal in the 3rd period, you can throw that top line back out there as you're chasing a 1-goal game or something along those lines. But I'd like to see it. And I'd like to see, regardless of who the center is, Kyle Connor play with Cole Perfetti. I think that could be a good match.
Yeah, well, I'm not sure whether it'll happen today or tomorrow. I mean, hopefully they start off and the 2nd or 3rd or 4th line get some goals. And, it maybe gives Arnie a little bit of time to pause this and see what happens. But the bottom line is they're going to need to step up defensively, help out this rookie goaltender making his first start as we expect it today, and get that done. Listen, we're going to have Tom join us from Edmonton in just a minute. Speaking of great hair, fill us in on a busy weekend. We've got post-game today, as we mentioned, with the self-proclaimed better looking of the Rewucki brothers. And then you're going to have a lot to chop up Sunday morning on WST Sunday Live to get the day going at 9 a.m.
Yeah, big weekend ahead, back-to-back here for the Winnipeg Jets. So post-game coverage tonight, you said it, not me, self-proclaimed Tyson Rewucki, the better-looking Rewucki. He'll join me tonight. And then no post-game for the Saturday games because we'll just be going live Sunday morning at 9 a.m. right here on the WST channel. Liz and I will have full reaction from that Nashville game. I'm sure we'll talk about today's game as well. And then we'll have a Chud's Power Sports Power Poll, Huss. I'm not sure. We always like to do something fun. So it's kind of a mystery to us as to what it is going to be every week, but we'll find something. So tune in 9 a.m. Chud's Power Sports Power Poll. Lots of other great segments and full reaction from Jets Preds.
Yeah, that power poll for Chuds could be plenty of things.
You never know.
Not all of them great right now with the team. But speaking of big losses, we're going to bring in, this will be our Misery Loves Company segment when we bring in Tommy from Edmonton. But Connor, looking forward to the post game with you and Tyson after the game tonight. And of course, always fun waking up on Sunday morning with you and Liz on WST Sunday Live. Thanks for doing this, bud.
Thanks, guys. Take care.
All right, we're going to bring in our pal, the handsome one, Tom Gazola, in just a minute. But let's get to a little bit of fan feedback. For fansfirst.ca, your number one spot for buying and selling Winnipeg tickets on the resale market, where what you see is what you pay. No added fees so far. Let's see here. We've got, this goes back to before, as I said, Jets Pope likes Connor with Barron and Perfetti. That's intriguing. I've got a lot of time for Morgan Barron at center. I would be intrigued to see him play with some more. I mean, he's never really shown a real offensive knack or playmaking, but at the same point, he's never really played with, those top-end players. Definitely has the speed, and we've seen him before do a good job of taking the puck to the net. So that is actually a pretty interesting one that the Pope just mentioned. T-Kona Pauly, split them up. If it doesn't work, put them back together. They won't miss a beat, but hopefully a part goes better. Matt Hyman says, Colton Ellis did a rookie lap with the bucket on. Okay. And Nick Lyman, Connor Hrabchak, welcome to the resistance, brother. Nick's thought is this: Iafallo, Scheifele, Velarde, Connor Lowry, Perfetti, Barron, Taves, Nino, top 9. We ride. I'd co-sign that for a game or two if need be. Good stuff in the chat from Nick and the rest of you. Keep it coming. Fan feedback brought to you by Fans First. By fans, for fans, no fees. Check out the site today at fansfirst.ca. All right, let's bring in Gazzola from the beautiful hangout studio of Edmonton Sports Talk. What's going on? How are you?
It is chilly in here. We've been having this battle at EST about what to put the thermostat at, Huss. Today is our first full day of winter. We have a true snow cover. Roads are a bit slick. People driving like dum-dums because they forgot what it's like to have snow on the ground. And Dusty and Iwanek and everybody here has been fighting over what to keep the temp at. This studio is a little bit chilly, I will admit, even though I've got my lumberjack shirt on. He
was asking me in the lock shop about this, and he said, well, what do you keep your temperature at? And I'm like, I have no idea. It is what it is, and I guess I haven't really had to change it. So I had nothing to donate or to give on that. But I did find it hilarious that it was 20.5 and everyone was cold, and then it was 21.5 and people were warm. And during the morning show, Eric and Trevor were wearing winter jackets, and Dusty was in a t-shirt. So I guess just another day in the life over there. Will you be covering that beautiful mane with a hard hat or a helmet for your next GSL Diesel post-game show? You've had some big turnouts from Oiler fans lately, considering the way things have gone. Man, that was an embarrassment against the Dallas Stars. And, maybe the worst thing for Edmonton, everybody's been playing these last couple days, and they have to sit on that one for 3 full days before getting back at it. What's been the fallout from that second, just humiliation on home ice? Yeah.
Hey, Huss, maybe it's like when your puppy makes a boo-boo in the house and you kind of put their snout to it and you, look what you did. So maybe that's kind of what it's been like for the Oilers. And then they had their autograph session at West Edmonton Mall yesterday, which is a great annual event, but
the timing couldn't have been worse.
Oh, and listen, this franchise has had a penchant for it. So you just kind of laugh. And now that I don't work for them and haven't for a long time, you're just like, well, you kind of did to yourselves. So it has left a bitter taste in people's collective mouth, if you will, in oil country. And
what's the panic level, Tom? Because this is a team, this isn't uncharted territory for these guys. They've been bad in November for the last couple seasons, and they've made it to the Cup final. Is there a sense of, that sucked, but we all know how this is going to go? It feels like there might be more panic in and around Winnipeg of Jet fans because of what's happened lately with this hockey club and obviously being without Connor Hrabchak, as opposed to a team is so much better than they're showing on the ice.
There is panic, no doubt about it. And you're right. I laugh when I hear you react to our post-game when you're with Dusty on the lock shop. Thank you for tuning in. And if people want to see chaos, bring it on. We enjoy it. That's why we do it.
If you want the Oilers to have the real life version of having the puppy's nose stuck in it, Knobloch should have the entire team sit down and just play the post game show from the last game, and Belsi with his hand in his hands, and the anger. I mean, the thing was, I mean, when you have embarrassing work like that, where it's like a rookie that no one's heard of scores a goal, makes the hits, and is the only guy that stands out or seemingly has a pulse.
Yep.
I can see how that gets a fan base that fired up for a team that they know is so much better than they're showing.
Absolutely. And that rookie, Connor Clattenburg, playing just his second NHL game, 18th professional game, 20 years old, and they bring him up to show him how to play. Or he goes and shows the other guys on the team how to play. That's kind of a sign of where things are at with the Oilers. And yeah, there is panic. Of course there is. And you know, Canadian markets and certain sections of the fan base are always ready to sound the alarm. I mean, there's been a louder, stronger contingent of Oilers fans doing that lately. I think there is still a good percentage of Oilers fans that are holding out hope that this is just their classic October, November, and then they'll pick it up in December, especially January. January, they've been generally pretty good the last few years. And, you know, we heard the players on Tuesday. I'm down at the rink and we're listening and we're scrumming Matthias Ekholm and Adam Henrique, and they're telling us, especially Ekholm, it's like, yeah, you know what? Maybe the not the hangover, but the buildup of playing so much hockey in the last couple of years is finally getting to them. And the travel that they've gone through this year, I mean, they're almost halfway through their road schedule, and they will be when we're finished up in December. I mean, they've played on the road so much. They've been decent at home, to be honest with you, until that loss to the Stars. I mean, I think they were 5-1-2, so now 5-2-2, just off the top of my head. But yeah, there's been a lot of alarming scenarios as we've seen here in Edmonton. But at the end of the day, they're still 10-5, and you're just like, well, they're in the mix. They're really like a 3 or 4 game winning streak away from being right back near where they need to be, striking distance, whatever the hell you want to call it. But here's the sad thing, Huss. They haven't even won 3 games in a row at all this year. They've won 2 in a row, I think 3 times. And then it's just, you know, they go back and forth, back and forth. They've lost 3 in a row 3 times as well. So it's not like they go on sustained losing streaks. And 2 of those 3, they've had OT losses mixed in there or shootout losses. So they've really just been back and forth all season long, Jekyll and Hyde, whatever you want to call it. But, you know, they're getting their asses kicked by really good teams like Dallas and Colorado. And then they get their butts whooped by a generally bad team like Buffalo when they lost 5-1 on that last road trip. And so you go, well, what the hell is this Oilers team? Well, I think at this point, we could tell you that they don't play well defensively. Their blue liners haven't played particularly well. The goaltenders certainly have not played well. And their forwards have been pretty hit or miss. So special teams have been good. But, I mean, the majority of the game isn't played on the power play or on the PK. So that's a losing equation. And, you know, their goal differential sucks. So there is a lot of panic. But I think there are still some people, or a good chunk of people, that are going, this is just the Oilers. They'll be fine. I don't know. We'll see.
I mean, listen, I think there's a lot of people outside of the market that say that, oh, yeah, whatever. I mean, they'll be fine. And I kind of still probably am in that category. Like, I'd be stunned if they weren't a playoff team at the end of this whole thing. But it's hard to watch them play right now and not feel like something is truly amiss. And I know everyone leans on the goaltending. I mean, there's a lot to it. The goaltending hasn't been good enough, but, I mean, they're doing nothing in front of them right now. And, you know, as much as Stuart Skinner has been taking a lot of heat, leave it to the Edmonton media for being able to quickly turn him into a sympathetic figure. I mean, your guy, Matty, I mean, that was, that would seem to only happen in Edmonton. We're asking a guy, what do you think about the fans that want you out? They think you're going like, oh, that was a tough watch. Yeah. And I'll give him a ton of credit with the way he handled it.
Well, listen, Matty, he's a good friend of mine, and he's a Hall of Famer. We'll start there. Also, he's covered this team, this franchise, since the WHA days. Like, he has been with it since 72, right? The very beginning. So Matty's been through thick and thin, the highs and the lows of everything with this franchise. And, you know, he's at a point in his career where he's going to get his quotes. He's going to do it however he needs to. Was the tact great? No. Did he ask what a lot of Oiler fans are thinking? Yes. and people jumped on him for how he did it.
Does it suck that everybody hates you and wants you gone? Like, no kidding.
Now, 100%, right? And Dusty and I were just talking about this on the oil stream here on EST. We're at a point now where that conversation and that comment, if it was Maddie having a sit-down conversation with Stu away from the scrum, and they're talking, and he makes that statement and comment and wants Stu's reaction for his article, or if he's writing a column, it's completely different, right? Like, it's perceived differently. Nobody else is hearing it because it's a one-on-one conversation. And that's where I pointed out it has changed since COVID with how you get to interact with the players. The days of just like getting a few minutes with a guy on the record, then off the record in the room are dwindling. And Jim comes from a time where the majority of his career, that's what you did. And it's gotten less and less and less and less. And I mean, he's in his 70s, and I don't know how many guys are going to change their approach, especially when they've been around, done as much stuff as him. And it was bad all around, but I understand, where he's coming from. I understand why people are jumping on him, but I'm just saying, like, there was a time where you could say to the PR staff, hey, could I speak with Stu for a couple of minutes, just one-on-one for my article? And then you can, hit record on the tape recorder or digital recorder, whatever we use now, your phone. And you can have that conversation, and you don't get the situation where it's on a scrum and everybody gets to see it and tee off on you.
Interesting way, as I said. I mean, I think this might, take a little bit of the heat off Skinner. I mean, the situation is what it is, but I think even some of his biggest critics were sort of feeling bad. I think for people that are wondering about this quote, Remis, play this clip. This is what we're talking about from this week.
The fan wants, every time we turn around, they want another goalie. Don't want you. I mean, that must hurt.
Hasn't that happened? It's happened a lot here, no?
They're down on goalies here. You're too young for that.
No, I was there for that. I felt bad for him. I mean, that's happened a few times here. I think it happens anywhere around the league. Goalies need to come up with big saves at big times. I'm not really too sure how much I can really say on that either. It's kind of just part of the game of being a goalie. I decided to choose that. I'm going to try to get my kids to be a player for sure.
I was going to ask you that because Glenn Hall told me once, he says, nobody forces us to be goalies. You're 10 years old, you just want to be a goalie. And then when the heat's on, you could have played another position.
Yeah, sometimes when it gets really...
Say this about Skinner, handled it really, really well. And you can tell this wasn't a malicious question.
Yeah.
It's just that in today's day and age, with the heat that this guy's taking, it was one of those ones that put him in, and I give him full credit. I mean, the pressure that goes with being a goaltender in the National Hockey League, and we've got it differently now. Like Eric Comrie's feeling the pressure right now, as being the Robin to Batman for so long, and playing a important but very small role in the grand scheme of things, to being the guy that is being counted on to get wins every night. I mean, it changes the, definitely people's perspective of it. Yep. And the pressure on those shoulders. And listen, what's going on there is, it's tough for Stuart Skinner, but he's a guy that's kind of easy to cheer for, even if you don't like the Oilers. I mean, guy. He is. He seems that, and just can't find it out. Tommy,
so can I just jump in on that?
Yeah.
Just first of all, like you said, Stu handled that perfectly and added a joke to it. Didn't look offended at all. The guy, he's from here. He's seen it. Go back to Dubnik.
Hilarious. He said, "Oh yeah, I've seen that before."
Right, and he didn't. Did he look like he took offense there? No, because he's the guy's a pro. Both guys, I'm sure, are okay with one another. I'm sure. I don't. Yeah. I haven't double checked because, quite frankly, that's between them. But it really became a thing on social media for people to rip into Jim. Like, that's where I say, if those two were together having a conversation and there weren't the mics there, and it was just the two of them, and it's for Maddie's article, we're not even talking about. So that's why I bring that up. Like, even in that clip, you get the context. It wasn't that bad. So anyway.
Yeah, no, listen. And, like anytime something's on social media, it's like burning a little bit and then gets a gas can on it.
Yeah.
It does take a bit of a life of its own. And again, a big part of this is the amount of time that they're having to sit around and suck on what happened against the Dallas Stars. Before we go, just thoughts on how bad the Canadian teams have been in the NHL so far this year.
Just, you know what? I'm here for the soap opera. They have sucked generally. It's fun watching Toronto get caved in by everyone across the country, including its own media. I enjoy that. The Habs look good for a bit. That kind of petered off a bit. It's fine. I'm sure a few of them are going to rally, but it makes
Ottawa,
for good
the
fodder.
fact that Ottawa is the team that's in a playoff spot, now it speaks to how weak that division is right now. But, the standings overall, you get to 5 games above 500, you're pretty much in it. But I'll say this about Ottawa. They did it for a month or so without their heart and soul and their captain, Brady Tkachuk, which is maybe the most interesting of it all. But, Montreal, they won a couple, kind of stopped the bleeding. The Leafs are a 500 team right now, NHL 500. They've got the exact same record, as the Oilers do, although the Oilers have played a couple extra games. But again, you go NHL 500 for a full season, you get 82 points, and you're probably picking about 7th or 8th in the draft. So that wasn't what everybody signed up for. Good luck. So who do the Oil have with the Kraken tomorrow?
You betcha.
Jeez. Well, we'll see what happens here. We've got our own worries, but just as a friend for you personally, I hope the hard hats aren't out again because, but the chat's been firing on all cylinders. It's good for the numbers, that's for sure. So, anyways, keep up the great work, Tommy. Have a good time with the weekend, and of course with all you're doing over at Edmonton Sports Talk. Thanks so much.
All right, Huss. Good to be here. Thanks for having me.
You got it, pal. There's Tommy Gazzola out in Edmonton. All right, Hacksaw is going to come up. We're going to get to the NFL. I think the Bears have just gone ahead on the Philadelphia Eagles. Of course, we hit the clean lines a little later on. Check our socials in and around game time. Well, these could change. And every day when the Jets are playing, you can go to your Facebook or your Instagram or your X feed and just get a quick update with the clean lines on all the Winnipeg Sports Talk channels. We'll see whether Neil Pionk is in. We'll see what the line rushes in the warm-up, whether there is any shake-up to the lines. And as always, they are brought to you by Clean Line, proud sponsor of the Winnipeg Jets, the official plumbing service of the Winnipeg Jets, and the go-to folks now for 40 years, the leaders in residential and commercial plumbing, heating, and electrical. Clean Line, like the Captain Adam Lowry, always has your back with 24/7 emergency service. For more information on all of their services and to get in touch with them, go online to cleanline.ca. Might be a great night to roll into the BP right after work for the Jet game at 4. Sure, there's some people that are already posted up right now with the schooner watching the football game before the Jets drop the puck. Of course, pick a player contest for Winnipeg Jet games. Great prizes for NFL primetime games. And the new Flight Club menu with wing flights, pizza flights, bite flights, fry flights, and your chance to win the Flight Club grand prize of that trip for 2 to Anaheim to see the Jets and Ducks later on in February. Staying at home, order online at bostonpizza.com. Now, our friends at Royal Sports have kicked off their big Black Friday sale today. And it is on, folks. Get on down to Royal Sports today and this weekend for the Black Friday sale. Hockey players, they got over $250,000 of hockey sticks on sale up to 50% off. 40% off Brooks Athletic footwear. Warrior player equipment, including shin pads, shoulder pads, elbow pads, and pants, 50% off. Vans, Mountain Footwear, 30% off, and a great deal right now for stocking stuffers. Buy a $25 gift card and get another one for 50% off, and tons of apparel up to 50% off with Brands including North Face, Vans, Volcom, Salty Crew, and many more over in the King's Skate, Snow, and Surf Shop. Get out there for crazy Black Friday deals at Royal Sports today through the 1st of December. All right, Hacksaw's locked and loaded, ready to go. Before we bring in, he'll tell you it's Beer Friday. Let's give a big cheers to our friends at Winnipeg's favorite local brewery, Little Brown Jug.
You train day in and day out, learning new techniques, approaching new concepts, and living out the thrill of achieving your goals. Building a craft beer is no different. While you spend your hours on the ice, we spend ours here, brewing our trademark beer. Again, and again. Here's to pushing the status quo and challenging ourselves to build something memorable. 1919 by Little Brown Jug.
All right, let's get into the NFL notebook on this U.S. Thanksgiving weekend. We are underway in Philly. The Bears are up 7-0, and 3 big upsets yesterday. Packers beating Detroit in Detroit. Cowboys beating the Chiefs in a shootout in Dallas. And the Ravens. The Ravens being upset at home by the Cincinnati Bengals. It was a dog's day yesterday, Hacksaw. Happy Thanksgiving, first of all. Hope you had a great Thursday, eating lots and watching football.
Hustler, good to talk to you. Yes, you are correct. OD'd on turkey, OD'd on football. Thank you. By 7 o'clock last night, I was wiped out. Listen, I was really stunned by what we saw yesterday. Let's just start with what happened in Baltimore. Lamar Jackson just does not look to be vintage Lamar Jackson. The fact that he can't really run, I think there's a fear of the hamstring issue, has affected every other aspect of his game. His turnover rate has escalated. His incompletion rate is kind of high. And there's no explosiveness to him because he can't move the pocket with a threat he's going to run. And they've kind of gone away a little bit from Derrick Henry. So I'm really surprised at what's happened with Baltimore. I think it's more injury related right now, even though they had a 5-game winning streak. And in terms of Cincinnati, where did that come from? Except that was sloppy play by Baltimore. I mean, Cincinnati's defense is deplorable, 415 yards per game and last in a ton of categories. And they came up with 5 takeaways or 5 giveaways, if you will, in the game. Joe Burrow obviously makes a difference. So that's a stunner. Baltimore's in big trouble. I think this will be a non-playoff season. Green Bay, Detroit. Jordan Love is doing this without everybody on the roster. I mean, he's lost his tight end, Tucker Kraft, for the year, and his receivers are in and out of the lineup on an every week basis because of nagging injuries, and yet he's just manufacturing a really great statistical season. And from the Detroit standpoint, this is hard to believe. And maybe this is a byproduct of the brain drain, the loss of all these assistant coaches on Dan Campbell's staff. Detroit has lost 4 of its last 6 games. Think about that. And they're not sledgehammering people anymore. People have figured out their offense a little bit. Campbell has become so addicted to going for it on 4th down. Now he's really below water the last 3 weeks on 4th down attempts and conversions. So Detroit's just not the same team. They still probably make the playoffs, but probably make the playoffs as a wild card team. And Love is, I don't know if he's carrying rosary beads or holy water, but how he's doing this without his key component skill guys is pretty impressive. Dallas Cowboy game was it was scintillating. It was sizzling. I mean, you pick an adjective or an adverb to describe what Dak Prescott and Patrick Mahomes did. Those 2 dudes are really impressive. But that being said, Kansas City just self-destructed. That secondary hustler had 5 pass interference penalties and a 1 defensive hold penalty. They just had no way to cover CeeDee Lamb and the other guy, George Pickens. Those guys just ran unbelievable routes. They caught 15 passes between them. The one thing I didn't understand watching Andy Reid last night, they kept going deep. They just kept trying to burn Dallas' secondary, and that secondary has been shabby most of the season. But I don't understand why not go short, make them cover guys underneath, and then get isolated one-on-one deep. And instead, they had Mahomes launching missiles and just not connected on very often. A lot of times, he was thrown into double coverage. So I think it was a bit of a Andy Reid miscalculation with his game plan there. Kansas City's got a problem. I hate to ruin this weekend for you.
Oh, listen, Lee, I'm well aware of the plight that we're in, but lay it out for the people because it is not good if you're a Chiefs fan.
For all the, I call them the old Canada Network, my guys from Winnipeg, watching Hustler, if he fails to show up for work one of these Mondays, it's because the Chiefs failed to make the playoffs because now they're behind the 8 ball. All the teams are in the wild card hunt just ahead of them. They don't have the tiebreaker on any of those guys. So Kansas City's got a big hole here. They say, well, they need a 5-game winning streak. Well, that's pretty tough because right now they have 0 running game. They've just lost their left tackle and their right tackle indefinitely. Simmons has got a fractured wrist. I think Taylor may have a hip injury. And they can't run the bleeping ball at all. So, it's all on Patrick. And he's a superstar, but he can't do it by himself every down, every series, every Sunday. So that's an end result of what we saw on Thanksgiving Day.
Well, and what's compounded by it, Lee, is that you mentioned they've got to go 5-0. They got 3 games at home. They got road games against the Titans and the Raiders, which they should be able to win. But their game next week with their season on the line and potentially missing those tackles is against the Houston Texans, who have emerged as the #1 defense in the National Football League. They have been killing quarterbacks lately. And, you got Will Anderson and Danielle Hunter, who I believe are both top 3 in the league in sacks, on the menu next week. So, they've got to find a way to win that game. Then you got the Chargers at the Titans, big game at home on Christmas against the Broncos. And if they can get to that point, I'm going to be at that Raider game in Week 18, and maybe they'll still be in the mix. But it is a long haul. There's no outs anymore for Kansas City now at 6-6. Early on in this Eagle game, we're seeing Chicago up first in the game, 7-3. Philly's just put on a field goal. This is a very weird matchup of 8-3 division leaders, Lee. In that,
well, we spent the entire spring during the OTA workouts and everything. Everybody was analyzing. Caleb Williams does not fit what Ben Johnson wants done. You look at where they are in the season. Would everybody like to retract that statement? Caleb Williams has 16 touchdowns and I think only 4 interceptions. He's not taking sacks. He's not fumbling the ball. His numbers are so radically different from where they were a year ago when he was doing too much freelance. Those 2 guys, that quarterback and that coach, have really come together, and they have a running back by committee. They got 3 different guys. They can have a big Sunday any weekend of the season. So Chicago's the real deal. Philadelphia is playing really well on offense. I think Jalen Hurts has 17 touchdowns and 1 interception through the air, and he's running some, not as much as he had in the past. But those 2 wide receivers between them have 111 receptions, talking about A.J. Brown and the other guys. So, and their defense is playing with their hair on fire. So Philadelphia looks like a real deal team, but there's somebody else in the NFC I'm going to allude to you probably want to pay attention to. But that Houston-Philly game, that's going to be a challenge.
I'm not there on Philly right now.
Philly.
Yeah, I'm not there on Philly. Like, they've been outgained in, I think, 9 of their games this year. And you look at even last week, their offense looked great for 10 minutes. They're up 21-0. And then did nothing the rest of the way. But the biggest difference, Lee, from last year to this year for the Eagles, and I know there's been some discontent. A.J. Brown's been in a bad mood and talking about Hurts. What's happened to their running game? Saquon Barkley had a historic season last year. He's routinely putting up 50 yards. It's night and day from what we're used to. And that's why people are so surprised that they are where they are. And yet we had Brandon on, who's a big Philly guy. He's like, well, if you listen to WIP in Philly, you're going to hear the angriest 8-3 fan base in the league. It's just looked a lot different than it has been when they were the kings of the NFL last year.
Well, two items here to consider. One, they let 4 guys go off their defense in the offseason in free agency, and they staggered out of the gates. 2 of them are young pass rush guys. Mm-hmm. Milt Williams, who's done a great job up in New England, and Sweat. Now, at the trade deadline, they made 4 acquisitions, and they started really come together defensively. from the trade deadline out. In terms of where the offense is, I agree with you, but you have to look at the rationale, what's happened. They let Mickey Becton, the massive right guard, go. He came to the Chargers, and he played pretty well for them. Cam Jurgens has had a chronic back problem all season at center. He's been in and out of the lineup. And Lane Johnson, who is really their stud on that side, he's got a Lisfranc injury now. He's had injuries prior. He's had like 3 different types of injuries this season. So that's 3 of your starting 5 guys up front are not really what they were a year ago, and one's gone forever through free agency, and Lane Johnson is now really badly hurt, and Cam Jurgens is trying to gut it out, and he's at about probably 60% capacity. So it's not the same group of people in front of Hurts and in front of Saquon Barkley.
So as far as the games on the weekend, I mean, there's been some big games. Maybe the biggest games have already been played this week. Obviously, this matchup of 8-3 division leaders is a big one. But let's take a look at some of the games on the weekend. And I'd have to say this Bills-Pittsburgh game is at the top of the must-see list. I believe it'll be the game of the week on Fox, the 3:25 window. Buffalo, like the Chiefs, like the Ravens, who were unsuccessful yesterday, I mean, they need a win to make sure they are comfortable in a playoff spot. And from the Pittsburgh side, they got a big gift from the Bengals of all teams last night and can actually get back into first place. Hard to imagine. It doesn't look like there's going to be a wild card team from the AFC North. So winning the division is what will get you in, and huge opportunity at home, but a very, very tough opponent coming in the Bills.
Well, Josh Allen's doing everything. Got 3,080 all-purpose yards. He's been responsible for 28 touchdowns this season, throw and run. James, Cook has been hot and cold. He has had great Sundays, and Sundays he's totally disappeared. I think the big problem in Buffalo is just who are their wide receivers, and can you trust them? These guys have been so erratic, and their productivity has been so sporadic. It's just Buffalo's a little Jekyll Hyde there, because Josh Allen has everything on his shoulders every series that he plays, and he's having to do a lot of it by himself. In terms of Pittsburgh, their defense is sacking people. Their defense is doing an unbelievable job in terms of the red zone, but they're giving up massive chunks of yards. It's not quite Mike Tomlin's defense, and I don't know what to make of the offense. Aaron Rodgers is going to try to play with a brace on his left wrist, and he's having an okay statistical season, but he's not a difference maker at quarterback, and they have a very pedestrian offense. So I think Buffalo should go in there and whack them, but you never know, because Buffalo, some Sundays to the next Sunday, this looks like a really weird football team. So Buffalo's just not what Buffalo was.
Lee, I think the Rams are the best team in the NFL right now, at least to this point. They deserve to be number 1 on the power poll. I'll kind of tease that. We've got the Chuds Power Sports NFL Power Poll coming up in just a minute. They've got the Panthers. They're 10-point favorites. They should win that game. You've been on the West Coast for a long time. I'm really intrigued in that game, but the San Francisco-Cleveland game. San Francisco on a short week. Brock Purdy didn't look great with the 3 first-half picks last week against the Panthers. And they go all the way across the country to Cleveland for these noon starts, which will be, 9, 10 a.m. Pacific time. How much of a challenge do you think it is for these teams which are expected to win in the spot that they're in this weekend, particularly for San Francisco?
Well, they have a lot of confidence in Purdy. I watched that thing closely this past weekend. Kept putting balls into coverage. He's forcing things. Again, he's trying to make things happen. That's his first full game back. He's been out for an extended period of time. He, to me, is like an injury waiting to happen, and he's going to go down again. But San Francisco, to be where they are with all these injuries, I mean, it's unbelievable the job that Kyle Shanahan has done with, a roster of backups at the skill position. So they should win in that game. Cleveland is going with Shedeur Sanders. Now, everybody's had a week to look at video, a week and a half of video on Shedeur Sanders. We'll see if his statistics come down. I'm all in favor of giving the kid an opportunity and just let's go the rest of the way with Shedeur in Cleveland, because there is no alternative. He's got to play. Dylan Gabriel is nice, but he's not the answer to play at the NFL level. So we'll see what this kid can do. But he threw for 209 last week. Three of the passes were the guys who were wide open on blown coverages. One of them was a 66-yard screen pass in which the running back did all the things to go 66 yards for the score. So I'm not totally convinced Shedeur is a complete package. There's no doubt he's a great athlete, but this is not Colorado. This is not Jackson State. The more video you compile on a quarterback, you will force him into things that he can't handle. And I think that maybe that starts this Sunday. You talk about the Rams. What Stafford has done is just amazing. Matthew Stafford has 30 touchdowns and 2 interceptions.
It's crazy.
At age 37. And he's got every component. His tight ends, he's got 3 wide receivers, he's 2.5 deep at running back. And we haven't even talked about the defense. Jared Verse and those guys are all young. They all run. They play with their hair on fire. That's a tremendous, complete football team. And I think anybody that has to come to LA now in postseason playoffs, it's going to be hard because the Rams almost beat the Eagles in the snow on the final possession last winter in the playoffs. So I think unless somebody gets hurt, a.k.a. Stafford, everybody's got to go through L.A. in the NFC playoffs. And the Rams, they're a different team at home. I mean, an explosive team at home, a really good team on the road. So Stafford's you think of his age, you think of the injuries, and for him to have a 32 combined TD interception ratio, that's absolutely stunning.
I'm not sure if you've seen this, but Baker Mayfield last week threw the ball so hard he seemed to pull his arm out of the socket or something like that, ended up in a sling. Sounds like he's going to go. He practiced today. Todd Bowles said Baker Mayfield looked good and is trending to start. So that's big news for Tampa, who their schedule lightens up right now, but they've lost a bunch of games and all of a sudden it's getting tight again in that NFC South. But the J.J. McCarthy situation in Minnesota is concerning. They're going up against their old quarterback, Sam Darnold. Here's the trivia question, Lee. Can you name the starting quarterback for the Minnesota Vikings this week, assuming that J.J. McCarthy is not out? He's certainly not a household name.
It wasn't a quarterback at the University of Minnesota.
He's some undrafted guy named Max Brosmer.
Right.
What a situation for the Vikings. I mean, they put and this is the week that it really kind of comes to in everyone's eye. Sam Darnold having another brilliant season with his new team, Seattle, one of the real contenders in the NFC, and what's looking like a lost season for the Minnesota Vikings.
Well, it's a little known fact. First of all, let me talk about Mayfield. Mayfield hurt his left shoulder, scrambling on his own and falling on his own. That's where the minor dislocation came from. It's not a throwing shoulder. But I saw him take so many hits last weekend. What a warrior. I mean, this guy has got such guts, and he's such a tough as a fire hydrant. But it's his left shoulder. So they popped it back in, and he's not healthy, but he's going to play. In terms of the Minnesota situation, I was told they sat with Darnold and actually offered him a contract. And Darnold said, I'd really like to survey the field and see what's out there. And I said, okay. Of course, J.J. McCarthy was always waiting in the wings. They're just banging on Kevin O'Connell right now for making the wrong decision. Well, Darnold wanted to pursue free agency, and he got a better deal, a 3-year deal to go to Seattle. But in terms of JJ, now they say, well, this is a busted pick. It's a mistake. Well, it's too early. He's dynamic. He's tough. He's got a cannon for an arm, but he's young. I mean, and so the throws he makes, I keep saying to myself, why are you putting the ball in that area? Sometimes he's really late. Sometimes inaccurate. He throws with velocity like, I don't know what the number would be, but we have all the baseball pitchers that are throwing 101. This guy is throwing in cannon shots, laser shots. It's going to take time, but he keeps taking sacks. He's turning it over. I think he's got 6 touchdowns. I think he's got 11 interceptions and 5 fumbles, which is way too much. And he's taken 20 quarterback sacks. That's a recognition thing of what's going on. What am I looking at before I'm getting hit? He'll solve that coming. They just got to keep him healthy and work with him. But he's been so dinged up right now. So they're not going to admit they made a mistake. They picked a tremendous athlete, but the athlete has to go through what I guess is hustler you call a real painful learning curve.
So great stuff as always. On the way out, I have to pivot from the NFL quickly to Major League Baseball and get your thoughts, and maybe you can tell Blue Jays fans about their new pitcher, Dylan Cease, who signed before the winter meetings. 7 years, $210. Scott Boras gets another one of his clients a big, big bag. But thoughts on him joining the Blue Jays? And for Blue Jays fans, what do they need to know about their new starter?
I use the term warrior, and that's what he is. Over the last 5 years, his metrics are phenomenal in terms of innings pitched, starts, durability, strikeouts. But he's also a bit of a wild man. He throws so many pitches that he can't get through the fifth inning. Now, if they can solve that, then they've got themselves a real ace, but nobody's been able to solve it. The Padres had stretches of time with him where he was brilliant and dominant. Dude threw a no-hitter. It's only been 2 no-hitters in the history of Padre baseball, but he's, the last year and a half, highly erratic. So they're going to have to work with him. Is he a stud? I think he's close. I was shocked at 7 years. I mean, I've been around this a long time as a talk show host and relationships with GMs. I would never give a pitcher a 7-year contract. He's 31 years of age. That's an immense amount of, as you would say, bag of money for the next 8 years. $30 million per season, which is staggering. He got more money than Blake Snell got pitching for the World Series champion Dodgers. So think about that. But they got themselves a warrior, and he is a grinder. He does not want to come off the mound, but he'll drive you crazy because he throws a lot of balls and walks people, etc. So I like him. We're kind of heartbroken down here because a year ago we came this close to having the Padres go to the World Series before the Dodgers took it away from them. Last year they got to the playoffs with a ravaged pitching staff, and now we're sitting here without 4 starting pitchers who are either injured and out, questionable because of injuries, or vacating. Cease is gone. They're about to lose Michael King, who was their 3rd starter. There's no Yu Darvish for 2016. He might retire with another elbow surgery. We don't have Joe Musgrove back yet. He spent the entire year on the DL coming off his own forearm surgery. So what was a pennant-contending, almost World Series team now is down 4 starting pitchers, and they got a constricted budget, too, with the death of the owner, Peter Seidler. So we've had a nice 5 years of Padre baseball to cover down here on the West Coast, but that's a long answer. Toronto, you got yourself a hell of a pitcher. You have to tolerate some things along the way, but him behind Gaussman and these other guys, that's pretty good.
Saw, you're the man. Thanks so much. It's 10-3 for the Bears. Caleb Williams just missed a wide open receiver in the end zone. They had to settle for 3. We'll see whether we can get back to, we'll see what happens in the second half. But great stuff. Fill people in on what's cooking at the website and on the YouTube channel as we head into the weekend.
Well, if you like sports, I write on my website virtually every day of the week. It's absolutely free. And we started something new. It's kind of a newsletter. I call them my O Canada Network people. You can get access. Just go to my website, leehacksawhamilton.com, and you can read all the stuff on the website. But on the right-hand side, there's an orange box right up there. You can see it on the page. Fill out that. You get on my email list. We send out 2 newsletters a day with a lot of inside information. So you Winnipeg fans, you Canada fans, you'll like it. And, of course, the website is up there. We do big podcast Mondays and Thursdays, and it's always up there on the YouTube channel at Lee Hacksaw Hamilton.
Oh, I can't subscribe to this Hacksaw newsletter fast enough, folks. Get on over there, get that in, and you won't even have to go seek it out. It'll come right into your email box from Hacksaw. Have a great weekend, and happy Thanksgiving again, pal.
And 1919's to you. Thanks, man. Talk to you next Friday.
All right, Don. There is Lee Hacksaw Hamilton. I'm pumped that he's got that newsletter going. That is going to be amazing to see show up in your box each and every day. All right, finishing up our NFL content. And by the way, Marbles is open. We have to get this podcast up quickly because of the early game, so we're going to get to Marbles right away. But let's do the NFL. Chud's Power Sports Power Poll, brought to you by Chud's Power Sports, Manitoba's power sports superstore for over 80 years, up in Gimli, Highway 8 and 231. Check them out online, chudspowersports.com. I know the Colts lost to the Chiefs last week. I still think that they're better than the Broncos. They beat the Broncos. They get the 5 spot in the NFL Power Poll this week on WST. Number 4, the Seattle Seahawks. We knew that game between the Rams and Seahawks was going to determine who's at the top of the poll. The Seahawks didn't win. They're still a hell of a team. They beat Tennessee. Sammy Dart's revenge game against the Vikings this weekend. I think that's going to be a long, long afternoon for Vike fans. Seattle is in at number 4. And on account of their big win yesterday in in Detroit, I should say, the Green Bay Packers are 8-3-1. They are the number 3 team. You will notice that the other two 8-3 teams, the Eagles and the Bears, not in the power poll. They're playing today. I guess a win if the Bears win in Philly, they're probably in this next week at 9-3. Number 2 is the New England Patriots, 10-2. The record is what it is. We can say what we want about the schedule. They won in Buffalo. They've won 10 times. They're the number 1 seed right now. They get that spot. And as we mentioned, I think a clear number 1 right now in the league is the Los Angeles Rams. 30 touchdowns, 2 picks. Matt Stafford playing well. The team pretty healthy. Brilliant head coach in Sean McVay. So the Rams, once again, at the top of the power poll. They're in Carolina on the weekend. If you want more NFL talk and the picks, get on over to our YouTube channel for this morning's WST winners. We put a whole bunch of stuff together, and we'll get to that in the Cool Bet lines in just a minute. Rebo, any comment on the power poll? Am I missing anyone?
Well, I'm curious what's going to happen with Indy because Daniel Jones got a fractured fibula and he's playing. He's got a crack in his leg. So I don't know what that means. Is he going to take one hit and he's going to be done? They came out with that news right before the game started yesterday, and I started him over Jordan Love in the media league. So we'll see what happens. We'll see what happens with Indy. It's been a dream season for them. Jonathan Taylor, offensive player of the year candidate, but if they don't have Daniel Jones, it's funny to even say that. I mean, he's been such a big part of their team, moving away from the Giants.
Anthony Richardson can't complete passes at 50%. I mean, they don't have an option. It was funny, we were going over this. I mean, one of Pat's props was Danny Jones over 8.5 yards rushing. And I'm like, wow, geez, with this leg thing. But then you look back, he had 50 yards 2 weeks ago, and he had 15 or something like that against the Chiefs last week. And listen, I think he's just going to get chased by those monsters on the Houston Texans defensive line that Mahomes is going to have to deal with next week. So I have a feeling that he does get that. Remo, if you want to get the marbles going, we can get the list ready. And meanwhile, I'll head over, excuse me, I'll head over to CoolBet and get going with the CoolBet lines. By the way, they did have a great Black Friday special with a special flash super boost. We've got a poll up right now on X. If they're going to do another super boost, which one would you want? Luka Doncic 30-plus points or Sidney Crosby to get a point? I'm going to vote Sid. I like the fact that we need and there's a lot of hockey going on. We'll get to the scoreboard in just a minute. Of course, the game we're getting ready for is the Jets and the Carolina Hurricanes. Well, while we're talking NHL, we may as well go there first. Avalanche and Wild already underway. Coming up in about 5 minutes, a ton of games. Kings, Ducks, Devils, Sabres, Flames, Panthers, Philly and the Islanders, Canucks and the Sharks, Senators and the Blues, and the Canadiens and the Golden Knights, all about to start. 1 hour later, we've got the Jets and the Canes. Jets plus 178 underdogs. Canes, one of the biggest favorites of the day at minus 213. The Leafs are in Washington to take on the Caps. Leafs plus 141. Caps minus 167. Columbus Blue Jackets a minus 139 favorite against those Pittsburgh Penguins and Sidney Crosby. Nashville is a slight road favorite in Chicago, which is a little surprising. I guess they did win their last game, but they've been so bad. I don't know how they're favored against anybody on the road. And the final game, 7 o'clock tonight as well. Big Central Division matchup. Utah Mammoth holding down that final wild card spot. They're in Dallas to take on the Stars. Dallas is a -135 favorite. As far as the NFL goes, right now it's 10-3 Bears. The live line on the Bears, -141, Eagles +110 to win. And the other spreads right now, Rams 10-point favorites in Carolina, Niners 4.5-point favorites in Cleveland, Indy a home 3.5-point favorite over the Texans, Miami -5.5 against the Saints, Atlanta's a 2.5-point road favorite in New York against the Jets. The Buccaneer line was 2.5 earlier today. The announcement that Baker Mayfield should be good to go has made them a 4-point favorite. Jags laying 6 in Tennessee. Seattle 12-point favorites against the Vikings. Chargers 9.5-point favorites against the Raiders. Bills laying 3 on the road in Pittsburgh. Sunday nighters, the Broncos, they're 5.5-point favorites against the Commanders. And the Monday nighter right now, Patriots 7-point favorites against the Giants. If you go to the combo cards, you'll see everything we cooked up for the weekend. Our partner parlay is as follows: Tennessee +6.5, Houston +4.5, Seattle -11.5. Nice boost there to +605. We will lock that in. And our touchdown scorer parlay, we're going with Jalen Waddle in Miami, Devontae Adams for the Rams, and JSN, Jackson Smith Njigba. That's got a nice boost up to +731 as we lock that in. There are your cool bet lines. Stay tuned next week. I think we're going to have a really exciting announcement for the poker gang. So as they say, we'll tease that, and we'll let you know next week on what we're cooking up heading into the holidays and for January. And otherwise, check out the exclusives and the combo cards for everything Jake and I cooked up on WST Winners. All right, Michael Remis. Only a little bit of business left to take care of on a Friday. And that, of course, is a marble race before we drop the puck in less than an hour.
Yeah, we're about to drop the puck, getting fired up for all these games today. I'm currently watching this football, afternoon hockey. But before we go in, I do need to mention we did do a bit of a quiet merch drop into some new WST hoodies and T-shirts are available. I sent them out to people subscribed in our newsletter, winnipegsportstalk.com. Scroll to the bottom. Couple orders coming already. Don't have a ton to go around, but if you want one, it is Black Friday. So we're doing a new merch drop, winnipegsportstalk.com/shop. And you can get those in. Hey, a great way to pick those up, our watch party, December 17 at Boston Pizza. So Boston Pizza Keniston. Very excited.
Yeah. Thank you for reminding me. People were asking where that BP Keniston, December 17th against the Blues. Hopefully we'll see you all there. It's a 7:00 start. It'll sort of double as a watch party and a bit of a holiday party just a week before Christmas. And yeah, if you want to pick those up there as well. This was a small run. We needed a couple for ourselves. We figured we'd get a few extras, but it's very limited, the numbers that we have. So if you do want one, get them ordered now, because as I say, we don't have a lot in a multitude of sizes. But I'll tell you what, they turned out great. And the hoodies, I made a point. Many of you seen me wear the Cool Bet hoodies. They are whatever brand we got. I always said to Remis, I said, when we do more, we've got to get whatever these Cool Bet ones that we've had, we've got to get these ones for ours. And we did. So we got the hoodies and the T-shirts in the new look. There it is, Winnipeg Sports Talk EST 2021. Hard to believe we've got a 5th anniversary coming up in March into the new year. That is wow. But anyways, if you'd like, there it is, winnipegsportstalk.com/shop. So jump in on that. Grab them just in time for Christmas. Yeah, Scardy, WTST is 4 years old. 4.5. Where does the time go? And yes, waiters, December 17 is going to be...
Okay.
Oh, you back?
Yeah, my internet disconnected, but I'm back here. You're back?
Yeah, I'm back. Throw me back on,
Okay,
and then we'll get right into the song.
Sure. Here, I'll bring you back in. Ready? 3, 2.
All right, sorry about that. An internet downage at the CTO's spot. We're back.
We're back. I forgot to mention that. Shout out to the NHL Jets in chat. They got a check. I've never seen this. They got a check mark beside their name. The real Winnipeg Jets channel.
Nice.
Sarah and Jamie were doing the check-in earlier, so they got great content on there. But they are in the chat, ready for the marble race.
They're
Feeling
ready for
pressure.
the marble race as well. Let's get a big marble win and a big win for the Jets today. And by the way, we're talking about Black Friday. I mentioned this earlier, but they are doing a special Black Friday sale, online only. 2 tickets and a Perfetti bobblehead for $129. And you've got a number of big games in the new year to choose from over the course of the next few months. So if you want to jump on that Jets Black Friday deal, do that right now over on all their socials or at the thing. All right, it's marbles time. We got a game to get to. Let's drop the theme here on WST and get this party started.
It's so hard to pick the right one.
It's Friday!
On a Friday, choosing the marble race. So many great songs. Maybe I should have picked the Beatles one. I think they got that new Beatles documentary out there on the Disney Plus. But us looking at the number of marbles in chat, we got 216 entries. And hey,
Beautiful.
It's funny. We mentioned the man, it's crazy. We mentioned the those new hoodies available. A couple orders like that. So shout out to Denise and who else? I saw Ron P in there ordering a hoodie.
Thanks, gang.
That's very nice of everyone. Repping a new hoodie. Derek Schmidt. I'm so incredible stuff there. I'm gonna have to get all these together after the show now.
That's right, and let them know. But anyways, I think now's the time to do it because, as you said, we don't have a ton of them. Thank you for jumping in there for a minute. I had someone at my door, and it was a lady asking me if I was Doris.
What?
I'm like, no, I'm not Doris. And I ordered some stuff online, and for whatever, sometimes you order something on Amazon and it's like a third-party thing or whatever. Everything else came, and then I don't know whether there was a lady that used to live where I was that was named Doris something, but they came to me. I'm like, I actually did order that, but no, I'm not Doris. Thank you very much. So anyways, weird things are happening. It's 10-3 for the Bears over the Eagles right now. And we got to do a marble race before the Jets get going. Hopefully, Thomas Milic can be a hero today in what we expect to be his first start. But where are we going today, Reem? Let's do this.
The NHL Jets says
Doris Paterson. Yeah.
I thought you were going to say they were asking if they could enter you in the marble race or enter them in the marble race. But don't they know it's Marble Race Friday?
There are a few people in the building that actually do participate and are WST winners.
Okay, I'll put Hustler, Thomas Milic, and how about Danny Zhilkin having a great year?
Yeah, Danny came on the show yesterday. That's a great call. And yeah, we got to do a marble for Milic for his first NHL start this weekend, likely today.
Yeah, so we do have 200. How many marbles did we get in?
216. Did you throw me in?
I threw you in, but maybe I didn't get the right. Hold on. I threw you in all capitals, of course. Although, YouTube has got this new thing where it's everyone's username has like an @ in front of it.
Very annoying.
Should I, you know what I'm going to do? Maybe I'll put it in ChatGPT and tell ChatGPT to get rid of the @ in front of each one so I don't have to do it manually. Huh? That is
smart.
See, that's some smart use of AI right
you
there.
Know what? Remo's our AI guy here on WST.
Yes.
Oh, I love it. Nick Sirianni is just losing his mind right now. Love angry Sirianni. All right, let's do this thing. We gotta get to our game day positions in 45 minutes for puck drop.
Yes. Yes. Let me copy all these. So we got a couple more entries. 221 plus the 3 that we did in there.
Beauty.
224 total. I don't have time for AI. We need to end this because the game's starting soon.
We got a game.
Yeah. 4 o'clock, Black Friday debut.
Colorado up 1-0 on the Wild. I bet Colorado on the puck line every single game, and they blow teams out every single game. Not too displeased that we haven't had to deal with them so far this year. All right, let's do this. What track are we going to?
Man, I was looking at tracks. I couldn't find one that I really like. I think my standards are too low. I might have to contact someone and be like, this is the kind of track I want, or my standards are too high. I can do like a classic Dylan 70 if you want.
Yeah, let's do one of the Dylan 70s.
Like the Champions Fire Project is one we always do for like giveaways and stuff, but that's a good one. That's a really good one. So I'll just do that. I think
let's do it. Champions Fire Project. People like that one. Hard to believe, we had Jake on today on WST Winners. He's up north of Toronto. They just got like a foot of snow. I was talking to the EST guys today. They're sort of having their first real day of winter. It's cold. They've got snow on the ground, and we're still getting through. That being said, it's not getting above 0 anytime soon, maybe for months. So when it comes, it ain't going anywhere. But it's still not on the ground. We got a game this afternoon, big game tomorrow, 6 o'clock in Nashville. It's Black Friday, but it is also time to crank up these marbles on WST. Let's do this. All right, 220. In the hopper, the Champions Fire Project is underway. Yeah, this is definitely one of the best ones that we have seen yet so far. Michael Pruden and Running Man with a nice little start there. There's Timbro. All right, someone just got thrown up. Does anyone? No, these are all eliminations. We've got a few people getting top roped early. 22 Canuck.
AJ says there's a lady lady named Doris at his door looking for a guy named Hustler.
No, I didn't catch the lady's name that was asking if I was Doris, but it was, I'm not sure there's many dudes named Doris, period. It's not really one of those unisex names. All right, who do we got here? Andy Johnson. Looks like Andy is in the lead right now. We've got a lot of carnage with so many marbles in the Champions Fire Project right now. But this is a good one. Oh, Yakman is first.
Oh, my God.
There's a lot of bombs that are just blowing people up. Yakman with the smooth transition through the wheel and now into this cone. Who else is there? Eric Shorlifson. Sklardy. Oh, no, Eric just got popped. Top roped, if you will, a la Oleg. Yakman, Winnipeg, still in first right now. It says Paul Carr. Oh, Paul Carr.
Yeah, he had a shortcut. He should have been
Paul
eliminated.
Carr got blown up. Yeah, Paul Carr got blown up, but into the track. Now he just got blown up again.
Backwards.
That was bizarre. He got blown up back into the previous funnel. All right, who do we got here? John Paul's Yakman. iHeart. Is that iHeart Gaming?
It's iHeart's nostalgia pit now, but it could be the same person.
We have a new change. I think that actually is one of my neighbors in this building. I was just saying there are some WSTers there. I think iHeart Gaming is that. All right, who's coming out first? Fire the Coach 1050?
8,000. 8,800.
And
oh,
no way!
Oh my God!
Oh, Fire the Coach 8,000 got whacked right at the end. This is an incredible finish. Haldy _ Marble Champion with the self-fulfilling prophecy. Okay, Remis, we're going to see this when we get to the numbers. This could be the closest finish in the history of the marble race.
That Fire the Coach got in there first, but took a while to get into the hole. And
yeah, exactly.
Marble champion Haldy just got in there and got down very quickly. I wasn't even watching. I had my eye on Fire the Coach. Be like, okay,
me too.
This is gonna win. And then
I went down. I looked up, and all of a sudden, that wasn't.
That was
Look
crazy.
at Haldy going now. Haldy just won. Wow, Amanda's three wins now in danger of the closest time to do it.
Look how close that is.
Oh my God, we're talking hundredths of seconds. 2.34091 to 2.34.157. 600ths of a second separating Haldy from Fire the Coach 8,800. Jets number 1 and 3rd. Yakman, that was nice for Yakman. iHeart Nostalgia Pit. Mike Irving, Daryl Selly, Winnipeg Puck, John Pauls, and Bruce A. is our top 10 for today. Let's run them through, and we'll let everyone know where they finished. There's Candace, nicely done. Wayne Bretsky. What's up, Bretsky? What's going on in Tacona tonight? You and Tyson going to be ripping it up at the Central or the Spike? Let's see. We got Sharpie there. There's Bingo Bango. I finished 36th. Not bad. Not bad at all. I'll take that. Dr. Terry. What's up, Ter? 55. Pretty good. There's Trevor Bird. Trevor, tune in next week. Big details on some poker stuff that you'll want to know. There's Amanda. See you for the game at 4. Sarge. There's Waiters. Schnitzy. What's going on, Schnitz? Have a good weekend. Steiner 25. Cody Caron, Cruiser, Tristan Rivers Music, and Justin Fung, the last through. Here is the list of everyone that did not make it to the finish line due to the obstacles in the Champions Fire Project. Fun stuff. Fun week today. I like these 2 days, where we've got obviously lots going on the tube. A ton of hockey today, but the game that we are most focused on is our Winnipeg Jets going up against the Panthers. As I say, stay tuned. We'll have a line update on the social channels as soon as we know how things are looking for today's game. And confirmation that Thomas Milic will be the starter, although that's certainly what it looked like yesterday from Mike McIntyre, who was there in Raleigh. Thanks to handsome Tommy Gazzola, Brandon Rewucki, Connor Hrabchak, Lee Hacksaw Hamilton, like just a murderer's row of good-looking dudes today on the program. And then there's me and Michael Remis. Folks, I hope you have an awesome weekend. Don't forget this evening, right after K&R, we'll have Tyson Rewucki, not to be confused with Brandon, and Connor Hrabchak doing the post-game reaction video. That'll be up for you at your convenience. And then make sure to join Connor and Liz at 9 a.m. on Sunday morning for another edition of WST Sunday Live. Hopefully with the vibes up after a win or maybe 2. Hopefully they can snap this losing streak. But tonight, or this afternoon, coming up, if you're with us live on YouTube, the top of the hour, Jets and Canes from Raleigh. And then tomorrow night, 6 p.m. start in Music City against the struggling Nashville Predators. Thanks again to all the sponsors that make WST happen each and every day, and all of you who joined us today. Have an awesome weekend, everybody. And we'll see you Monday, 1 p.m. right here with a live edition of Winnipeg Sports Talk here on WST.
Oh my God! Oh! Shut it down! Let's go home!
Thanks for tuning in to Winnipeg Sports Talk Daily. Make sure to subscribe on YouTube and your favorite podcast feed at winnipegsportstalk.com.